Yeah, I've been messing around my damn car and shit. I got my old school out and shit, man, I hit a corner and I don't know what's going, making some type of noise or something. So I've been messing around with that,
Oh,
Bill.
for real?
I seen you. I seen you had hit me with the link and everything. They're like, damn, what this nigga doing? I'm like, damn. So I just hitting a couple corners. I'm hitting a couple corners around the neighborhood trying to find out the noise and shit. My mind is zoned out, worrying about my damn car and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
you hit it hard. You hit it on a corner.
I don't know. I just been hitting it up and down the street trying to hear this noise. I don't know what done happened. I don't know. Like I'm saying, I got all the shit new on it. I don't know. I don't know. That's what's pissing me off. So as soon as I get from with you, I'm going straight down, back, hitting some corners until I break it or whatever I find. I don't know. I don't know. Find what's going on with this damn noise. I don't know. It's ain't one thing. It's a damn another, man.
Ain't
Fuck.
that the truth? Ain't that the truth? But like you said, it's Good Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Smash the like
Yeah.
button. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Mills from Mill City Boxing, home of the high level pro boxing media, the Fighters and Trainers channel, and most importantly, the People's channel. And we got here the one and only Bernie, the boxer. And
That's right.
man, how does it feel to be on top, man? I mean, salute to all the coaches that made this possible. If this ain't trainer of the year team, I don't know what is, man. Let me know what you think, man. So talk to me, man. How does it all feel since it's all settled in and stuff?
Man, you know, and I don't want to be, arrogant or, cocky or nothing, but man, this is what we expected, man. This is it was nothing less than, you know, you know what I'm saying? This was expected. So to win, it do feel good though, because you never know what's gonna happen in a fight. You never know. Like I was listening to you, and the guy said, but he got to do it though, and he did it. So, man, to see that it happened, and I'm so happy for the kids, because of everything that's been going on with them, the doubts, the criticism, all those things that's going on, the missed out opportunities, or the opportunity that was kept away from them, and so just to see them win and do it big like that is just, and to be a part of it is, I ain't gonna lie though, Mill, because I'm just saying, man, man, it's a wonderful thing. I'm gonna just leave it at that. It's a wonderful thing, It's part of who I am. It's part of who we is. So, you know, I guess if you're used to that time, you know what I mean. It's almost like normal.
I
Yeah.
mean, this past weekend, this is like a cemented legacy when it came down to so many people talking about GOAT status, especially right now, currently. Um, Tell me, like, as far as the people is concerned, this win over the Terrence Crawford win. Tell me, how different is it?
Well, like I said, you don't get no bigger than Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean?
Right.
The perceived face of boxing. First ballot Hall of Famer. Hard punching. The guy. Everybody know Canelo Alvarez. If you followed him, you know how he is. You've seen his growth. You know what I'm saying? You've seen his rise. You've seen how he ascended, and he took on tough challenges. Whether they were in their prime or not, they were still really good fighters and Hall of Fame fighters and high level fighters, and he came through and built his legacy, man. And but like I say, everything he had, you know what I'm saying, we took it. Everything he had and everything he gonna have. Crawford took it. But so yeah, no, it's just shout out to both of them, man. Shout out to them. I can't say enough about either one of them, man. It's a great victory, and it's boxing. Boxing is that's what it is. You got to meet in the ring, and that's the best way to meet is in the ring, and they settle their differences, and everybody doing all the talking and everything. So Crawford settled it. That's it. How we gonna show him in the ring. So that's what he did, man. Shout out to Crawford, man.
Great game plan. I was listening to some of the interviews of Crawford. He said that, I could tell that his power wasn't much until round two. And looking at the game plan per se, Bernie, can you kind of describe it? Because it seemed like when it came down to having that outside foot, releasing combinations, getting out, but staying close range. You know, it was everything was really like a lot of close range. Obviously, like later rounds, Canelo gets hurt and buckled, but in the same time, not going overboard, because you still got a strong guy in front of you. Yeah, can you talk a little bit about the game plan and how the execution really like just set forward?
Well, we did a lot of studying on Canelo. The coach broke it down a lot, and we've been watching him for years. And like I say, he has a trouble with movers. You know what I'm saying? You give him a little movement, which is most people. You know what I'm saying? We keep saying it to guy most fighters. You know what I'm saying? If a guy moved on me and I'm a mover, it'd give me trouble. So a mover is gonna give you trouble. You know what I mean? A guy that moves and Crawford, like I say, is he had a better Canelo's not as fleet footed as like I say a Crawford, So we know he has to set to punch. And that's once you know that with a guy that's set to punch, then that's what you're supposed to keep him on the move. So he can't never to punch. So that's what he did against Prescott. You feel me? That was the first thing he brought that to my attention. But now he got a set to punch. So that's why he moved him way back in Prescott. The same thing with Postal. I was listening to you with another guy and he said that he was worried about his power. No, he was taking away his strongest asset, which was his punching power. It wasn't that he afraid of him; he just take it away from him. And that's what Crawford do. He takes away your best weapons. You know what I mean? He nullifies you. So that's what we need to fail to realize. It's not about fear; it's about taking away. You know what I mean? So that's what Crawford did. He nullified him. He took away his ability to punch and to set the punching. The rest is history. And
You know,
go ahead.
you as a coach and you watching the fight play out, from that
Yeah.
round one to the round two. When do you know that you for sure say we got him?
After the first round, after after the first round, I knew it. I knew it. You seen Crawford boxed him and man, he came straight. He came out with a double jab right hand right away. You see the first soon as they touched up, Crawford touched his glove and I think he double jabbed right handed him right away. Went straight to him. And that's the thing too, usually a guy he's gonna back away. When you attacking, he's usually gonna back away a little bit. He's gonna step away, trying to get out the way a little bit. They're usually not catching, rolling, or slipping. They're usually gonna step out the way first. And so he just sent the message to him, that I'm coming for you and I'm not afraid of you. And it just sent a little mission because I know he thought Crawford was gonna circle. But Crawford went straight to him. You know what I mean? So that something mentioned kind of throw him off his game. If he was thinking he was going to walk Crawford down. So I knew from the first round. I knew it for after the first round, Crawford had him. Like I say, I knew it from the first round. And it just got better and better as you seen.
Yeah, it was nice to see how you guys was able to put that whole game plan together, and it seemed like it was like it's nice to see everyone in the corner putting in their thoughts in the corner as well. Like I
Yeah,
seen that Saul.
yeah,
Am I getting this? Yeah, he just
yeah,
great stuff in the inside work. Like you were saying that
yeah,
he's a great inside coach. Like you were
yeah,
saying, and you could see that really helped out a lot as well in the
yeah,
in the fight.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody got bring something to the table when on the
The tape.
team. We all came up under Midge Minor, and you know what I'm saying. Bo was the understudy of Midge, and Saul, like I say, he came up in the came up where he came from Guatemala and through circuit and things like that, and being a Latino fighter, usually like to fight on the inside. And so he works great with that. Red is an all around. I think I'm all around, and I wasn't in the corner. I don't work the corners because they already had that set, and you already only have three coaches plus the doctor. So I've never worked the corners unless it's Jamar Talley or the lesser known guys. But with Crawford, you got those main three, and like I say, they got a great chemistry. We've been together for so long, and these guys are really boxing minds. They in it for the love of the sport and to win. So, but mainly for the love of the sport. They have a desire to want to be the best, and they show it with their mindset.
Yeah, each person brings that to the table. I like that, and salute to you for being a coach that puts everybody in the floor front before them, and admiring what everybody brings to it. He has you're just talking about just getting that bronze amateur coaching for the USA. Like I got that same thing for coaching, but it goes to show you that he wants to bring it back. You know what I mean? He wants to build the amateurs. And I was listening to that with that interview that he had with Sean Porter. And with you, you've been with Crawford from like the beginning. I was seeing a lot of videos and pictures, like, you guys all kind of just went up together. So that's dope. That's real
Yeah,
admiring.
yeah,
How do you feel like Omaha and everyone else is gonna embrace the gym now with this big win? I mean, it seems to me, I was looking at some videos with Crawford playing basketball with his regulars, and it's just like a regular thing. But this is greatness, though. This is
yeah,
huge.
yeah. That's what I want. That's how I was saying it when you say, "How do I feel?" It seems it's like regular, you know. But the city Crawford is a Crawford. So after he won, everybody ran out in the streets and they was popping fireworks and they was celebrating, and it was almost like Omaha Day. So that reminded me of when Joe Louis used to win. Crawford is bringing out something that fighters these days they don't have. You know what I'm saying? You haven't heard nobody going out in the streets after their guy won. The city's not going crazy. They going to an after party. The city actually went out into the streets and shouted and screamed and danced and celebrated. So that reminded me when Joe Louis used to fight. That's what they say about Joe Louis all around the country. They would go out and scream when Joe Louis won. Um, and another thing I was thinking that I had put a post out. I was posting something, and it was about Bud, and I wanted to. I was trying to think of a song to play, so I typed in Bud Crawford, man, and you won't believe how many songs is named after Bud Crawford. If you go to YouTube, it was the music, whatever it was. It was my Instagram, but when I went to pick the music part, and I don't know if that's YouTube, but I put in Bud Crawford. Man, it was like 10, 11, 12 songs named after Bud Crawford, man. So I mean, the way this guy inspires people is just next level, man. And like I'm saying, if you don't know that, if you're not looking, but like I'm saying, this guy is inspiring people. You hear people reference guys in songs, fighters in songs. We've heard that a lot. But we're talking
Mhm.
about songs dedicated to one man. You know what I mean? Named after this man. You know what I mean? So that just goes to show you, all the propaganda about Crawford's not popular or whatever else you want to say is totally false, man. It's totally false. It's all propaganda.
When Canelo Alvarez talked about, he wanted to do things in the ring, but his body wouldn't answer, it wouldn't respond. I mean, what did you get out of that as a coach?
Well, because Crawford didn't let him. Was listen, Canelo throws the same punches over and over. We know the same punch that he throws, and he threw those same punches. And as you seen, Crawford was ready for every one of them. Um, I was seeing you with another guy, and he was saying he don't punch in combinations. Well, Crawford wasn't there for him to punch in combination. And most guys is on the run. Most guys been on the run. So uh Crawford just nullified him, man. It was just and when he got to him, like I said, you seen him stood in the pocket. He traded with him. He went fire for fire with him, and he won that battle too. So, we just give a testament to Crawford. Nothing taken away from Canelo. It was just Crawford was just a better man. And again, I want to say this: a lot of those guys they was training to fight Canelo. They wasn't training to beat Canelo. Like I say,
Mhm.
they were already trembling with fear going in. Everybody. When I say everybody, and it's probably mostly the casuals. And a few of the guys. Everybody talking about a paycheck. So everybody's looking for a check. They know the one thing they're going to get is paid, however that is. I don't know. And really, I don't even think they getting a lot paid like that. I'm not hearing crazy numbers from these guys getting these fights. Maybe it's on the back end where everybody don't know, but they're speaking of a payday. So if you're looking at a, they're looking at a payday. They're not looking to win, to beat the man. And Crawford was looking to beat the man. It wasn't about a check. It was about the victory. And so I think in his preparation, preparing for victory, he was crossed all his T's and dotted all his I's. And he had about maybe 2 years to prepare for this. Because they was talking about this right after the Spence fight. So he had about a year or two maybe to prepare for this, to really think about this guy, to really mentally get himself ready and what it would be like, and to put himself in that shoes, mentally. So you never know what's gonna happen in the fight, but I think that's a good time to acclimate yourself into, to be doubt in your mind, to overcome any second guesses that you have, and I think day by day with the training and the sharper he got, and everything else, it just played out the way it's supposed to play out, and he did a spectacular victory. It was a very smart, thought out fight. He like I say, you can watch this guy and just learn from him for real. You can just learn from this guy. If you're a boxer, he's a master in there.
So that, I mean, that goes to show you a lot. I mean, there was topics of Crawford making up to towards 50 million for this fight, and you're saying it was more for the actual opportunity versus what these numbers that people are spectating.
Definitely, definitely. I like I'm saying, every fighter is in it for the money, and most fighters, I'm talking about serious fighters, they want to get to the prize, they want to get to the fame and to the fortune, but you got to put the work in for that. And like I'm saying, Crawford, so we're not negating the money. We know what the money comes, but first the love and everything else has to be there first to get that, and I think Crawford worked for that. And so uh like you said, I picked Canelo. It wasn't about money. It was like the biggest challenge. Because after Earl Spence, there was nobody for real. It's like was nobody that's big like that. We had the thing with Boots. He was growing a reputation, and that fell through. And after that, it was really nobody else. It was nobody on the horizon. All the guys, they decided to go the other way that had their 47-pound titles, and so he cleared out the division. And where else was it to go? You seen Charlo got beat by Canelo. He didn't even put up a good fight, so that was, and he was the lineal champion, undisputed champion. So there was nothing to really do there. And he had a big name and he had a big following, but he let himself down and let us all down with his lackluster performance. And so it was really nowhere else to go, for Crawford for real. So Canelo was the biggest target, and Crawford went for it, and he got it.
Bernie, tell me, like, it seems to me when the biggest stages come for Crawford, he actually gets this opportunity. He comes out and outclasses who you guys say is the top guy in the division. But you tell me, I mean, when it all plays out, do you feel like Canelo looked past him not putting a rematch clause?
Um, I don't know about that. I don't know if he. I don't think they needed a rematch clause, because I think they're big enough that and
Trumps
depending
that.
on how the fight would go, that either one could it's a competitive fight, either one could enact that, you know what I mean, and the public would demand it. So I don't think that they needed to do that, but you got to take your hat off to Bud because he didn't want to wait. He didn't have no clause and nothing. He didn't have no rematch clause. He didn't have no weight clause. He didn't have nothing. He wanted to fight him straight out, and that's what he did. He just beat him with no stipulations,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
nothing in the background, nothing, no safety nets,
No
So
safety
shout
nets,
out to
no
Bud too.
rehydration clauses, none of that. Do you
Yeah.
feel like that elevates the wins that when it comes down to some of the guys that he was able to share the ring with? When I mean by Canelo, I mean Canelo, he lost to Bevo. Lots of
Hmm.
people said because he went up in weight, the weight
Hmm.
and the size was a factor. When it comes
Yeah.
down to Floyd Mayweather, he was too young at the time.
Hmm.
And now you got Bud Crawford that takes this challenge at 168 pounds for the undisputed title at
Hmm.
168. I mean, do
Hmm.
you feel like that kind of trumps or or just the performance alone of him putting hands? on Canelo more than these other two guys. What do you think? I mean,
I
what do you
think so.
grade that?
I think so. I think so. I think his performance was better than both of those guys. Like I say, you had B-Ball, who was a big, stronger guy, a big guy, tall, rangy guy. But B-Ball is a tap puncher. He's not a strong puncher. He's not a hard hitting guy. He's a points guy. Um, who I wouldn't say he was cherry picked. That was a tough fight. Like I said, a lot of the public didn't know who B-Ball was. But he was a reigning champion for 5 years, and he had a few title defenses, and he had a great skill set. And so the attributes that he had, and for Canelo to overcome them, you know, was going to be hard, because like I say, Kovalev was a tall, rangy guy, but he was faded. Kovalev was past it. He'd been stopped a couple times. Andre Ward beat up on him a couple times, and so he was a little shot worn. He was a little shot worn, and even at the end, he was still in the fight. He was still in the fight. He had a good jab. He was still in the fight, but I think he had a little stamina issues as well, and Canelo overtook him, as he started to fade. Like, see, he dropped his hand and Canelo came over the top and knocked him down. And you see, he was more tired than hurt. When Canelo dropped him, he was more tired than hurt. But Canelo, overcame that. But with Bivol, you fighting a young guy. I think Bivol was like 25, 26. So you got fighting a guy that's entering into his prime, who's a well-schooled boxer. And with Mayweather, of course, Mayweather just he just phenomenal. Mayweather just phenomenal, and he has the fundamentals to sustain himself at a later age. You see, he was 36 years old at a later age, and he's always been a smart boxer in there. Mayweather's dynamic. I can't take nothing away from Mayweather, but you know he didn't give Canelo a rematch as he got better. Canelo hadn't been on a big stage like that and hadn't fought a guy like that. Actually, I think he might have fought Trout before that. And so he seen that Trout gave him a lot of trouble in the way he was boxing. And so you can't compare Mayweather to Trout. So I think Mayweather seen that as well. But I also think that De La Hoya and them fed them to their hate for Mayweather at the time, led them to put that kid in there with him. You
That
know what I
early.
mean? Yeah, 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 yeah. Because like I say, it really was not warranted at the time. You know what I
Was it
mean? When you
was
think
it
about it.
just hate for was it just hate for Mayweather or maybe a little for Canelo as well? Did it start there or do
No,
you think
no,
that
no. No, I don't know. I don't think at the time I think they were pretty good. I'm not sure, but I would say that they was good, and I don't think they was trying to cash out on Canelo at the time. It was
right?
just too early. I think they could have built it up a little bit more if they were
Mhm.
trying to get him beat. But so no, but like I say, you got a guy with Crawford who fighting the very best Canelo. You fighting the very best Canelo, and like I say, seasoned. Like you say, this guy, he all these guys he fought, all these big events he fought. All these different styles that he fought. He was more seasoned when Crawford fought him, and Crawford fought him at a higher weight. They said they made the weight at 52. you
Yep.
know, and he was the champion. Canelo was the champion. So how you gonna make the champion? Them 2 pounds mean the difference sometimes. So he made him weigh at 52, and so there was a stipulation in there. You feel me? It was a stipulation in there. Crawford, the older guy, no stipulation, and he going up 2, 3 weight classes. So that gotta say it. And Crawford stood and fought. Mayweather's didn't stand and fight. Mayweather's moved, pot shotted, and kept him at distance and did his thing. It was a dominant performance, but I think Crawford his performance was better, and I think it was shine more. In my opinion, like I say, Canelo was a more seasoned fighter, and you know, that was it. He got a lot better after he lost to Mayweather. He got a lot better.
What about the pain aspect of it? I mean, who do you feel like inflicted the most pain out of those guys as well?
Crawford. Did you see him turn him sideways with the body? Man, he turned him sideways with the body shot. I never seen no guy do that. I never seen him like he hit him and the man just go sideways. He did that with
Yeah.
Spence too. Like, man, he did that, man. He stunned him. I mean, yeah, Crawford was never hurt. And this guy landed a couple good shots, straight right hands, but never hurt him. I seen you was talking to another guy. He was talking that maybe Crawford was like poker face. But I don't think he never hurt Crawford, man. Crawford, like he said, man, no, he wasn't. He never felt his punches like that. He never felt his punches like that. So I was listening to that guy say that Crawford was a poker face, but I talked to him personally, and he never revealed to me that oh man, he hurt me with a body shot, or oh, he caught me with a good shot, and man, I felt it, man. I had to get out of there. I had to make sure I didn't be. Crawford was actually wanted to stand there and fight him a little more, but if you heard Bo and them screaming, you don't got to do that, you don't got to do that, keep boxing him, and that's just what. So he just followed his corner. He wasn't being hard headed, just like with some of his other fights, he was maybe a little hard headed, and he took some took some punch that he didn't have to. But this time, he just listened to his coaches, so that was good on him, because he's a man there. He can do whatever he wants. The only we can do is just give him the best game. But he knows, what to do, what he can and what he can't do. And even though I feel like he could have stayed and fought a little bit more and really went for the stoppage, he just decided to listen to his corner. And that was just it. He decided to listen to his corner.
No, and I heard and he acknowledged that, and he also said that Canelo was still strong. He was still a strong man.
Mhm.
You listening to the corner and stuff like that. You could see that you guys are one to get the job done at the end of the day, and I can appreciate that because sometimes you think, damn, with all these core voices, how can a fighter stay focused and stuff like that? But yeah, really clear headed, and that's a big piece. Nobody goes to the body on Canelo, but Crawford does.
Yeah.
What do you see that made it so successful that he was able to touch the body with no fear?
Well, he didn't start out from too far, so he didn't leave himself open to counters. They was on the inside, and Crawford just goes to the body. That's part of his staple. He's going to go to the body. That's part of his forte. So,
That's why
um,
Mexican fans love him.
uh, um, so if that's your forte, you're gonna find a way. You know what I'm saying? To go to the bot, you're gonna find a way, and that's part of his arsenal. That's what makes him so dangerous because he varies his attack, up and down. So um, that was no surprise to me. Might have surprised a lot of people, but we worked on everything. Everything that he did, it was all practice. Everything that he did, the catching, the countering, it was all practice. And we had great sparring partners. We had great sparring partners.
For the people that are in the industry, people, coaches, fighters, saying that that was an older Canelo, a worn down Canelo, got old overnight. What should your response be to that?
Yeah, first I want to say because I was talking to you earlier, and I did a live yesterday, and I kind of went a little heavy on Breadman, and I might have called him out his name, and I want to apologize for that right now. I think I might have went a little too far, called him a bitch ass nigga or something. That's probably wrong. So I want to apologize on that. And that just sometimes I'll be running off at the mouth too much, and I let my words just flow, and foolishly. So I want to apologize for that. But
Real shit.
but I did see. So I want to correct myself to make sure that I wasn't hearing nothing wrong. But I did hear him say that he seemed like a guy that was on the way out. And so for the guys that saying that he's on his way out, I mean, you know, he's been around for a while, but Canelo hasn't taken too much punishment. I don't know, is he taking a lot of punishment? And we're talking about a guy who fights 2 times a year. So in the last 10 years, he's fighting 2 times a year. That's 20 fights. That's 2 times a year. It's 20 fights. That's not a lot of fights when you think about it. When like I say, when you see a guy, we taking it back, and they say these guys, argue with Bud all this time that these guys are better, they're stronger, they're this, they're that, these modern guys, but we talking about guys that fighting 4 and 5 times in a month. We talking about guys that's rematching all-time greats and legends in 3 weeks. You understand? And we talking about a guy that's fighting 2 times in a year. I don't see that. He lives a comfortable life. You know, um, Probably I could say that it's really not much for him to accomplish. You know what I mean? If you want to say it that way. But as far as his skill set and his mind, I don't believe that. And I feel like that's a way to diminish Bud. I feel like that's a way to diminish Bud. Like I say, it's really much not much for Canelo to do, and so in that sense. But far as on the way out, no, this guy is still young. Um, he loved boxing and he has a lot of enthusiastic for the training. So I will go against that. Just like they said
I
about
like it.
Sean Porter. Sean Porter lived a vegan lifestyle. You never heard nothing about Sean Porter blowing up, overweight, smoking, drinking, partying. You never heard it about Sean Porter. So listen, we talking about like, listen, when you Bernard Hopkins was 50 years old doing push-ups in the damn ring against a guy that was 30 years old. Archie Moore was 40 some years old fighting wars with Yvonne Durrell. Um, you got guys winning the Jersey Joe Walcott been knocked out before. He won the title at 37. So to and these guys was fighting regular and they was fighting 15 rounds. This guy fighting 2 times a year. Come on now. Come on now. So let's don't diminish Crawford now. Let's don't take nothing away from Crawford. And he didn't have no weight. He didn't drain him. He fought at his weight. Let him come in whatever he wanted. He never put no stipulations on him. Let him have the gloves he wanted. Let him do everything. Everything. It was just nothing but a fair fight. So, let's just don't take away from Crawford.
Do you feel like because Crawford went out his way, skipped basically three weight classes, took a pit stop at 54 if you want to be exact, but
Yeah.
in the same time, do you feel like because he did that and he did it so cleanly on Mexican Independence Weekend that it's just like Canelo's gonna definitely ego kick in and want to do a rematch?
No, I don't know. I don't believe that. I think the warrior spirit might want him to have a rematch, but I don't think the rematch is going to do him any justice. I don't see no cause for no rematch the way Bud handled him because Bud handled him in every which way. He never got buzzed. He was seemed like the stronger guy in there, and he the one that hurt this guy. So there's nothing that we can say that will warrant a rematch. I think Bud won so clearly. I thought he damn near won every round. I seen that Andre Ward and Max Kellerman, which kind of pissed me off. They gave him, in a sense that not piss me off like that, but I didn't think he won the fifth round. I didn't see him doing nothing much in the fifth round. They was making the fifth round and if he keeps doing that, then he might win the fight or do. I didn't see him doing nothing much in the fifth round. I didn't see that. So I don't think that there's no warrant for a rematch. Crawford handled him easy, pretty much. Easy. He made it look easy. And I'm not going to lie. You know, Crawford going to say the gracious things on the camera, or Crawford's going to say gracious things on the camera. But did I get those feelings when he's showing a lot of respect as a fighter for fellow fighters. But if we want to be blunt, man, it was easy. He didn't have no trouble in there. He didn't have no trouble in there. He didn't have no trouble. He didn't have to go to no hospital. He didn't have to go get in no bed and rest or nothing. And he could have went 15 rounds. So you know, not taking away from Canelo was everything that you want to be, but Crawford just handled him easy.
Do you feel like nobody has anybody gotten Canelo as frustrated as that? I've seen that he got the headbutt.
Never seen it. You never seen it because usually he probably scorned you. He probably have disdain for you for running. Like this guy, he don't want to fight. But with Crawford, he was just like, where am I going with this guy? Where am I going with this guy? I don't. Everything I'm trying to do, he's taking it away from me. The pull counter he did, the looping shot that I showed, like he doubled the left hand up, then he turned it to a loop. He missed the first one. I think Canelo got out the way or blocked it, but he kept the punch going and turned it into a loop and caught him with a great shot. And the angle and the torque that he had on the shot spent his head. The angle and the torque that he had spent his head. So the power that he had to have to anchor the shot, man, in the agility that he shows. So, like I say, Crawford making up punches. You don't even see guys doing stuff like that, man. You don't even see guys doing stuff like that. So Crawford is just he just amazing with that boxing ring and in that boxing ring and his mind takes over. his ability takes over, and man, he just something special, man. He did something special. You know, what can you say? You know, stuff that you can't even teach. That stuff ain't even taught. That shot ain't even taught. That's something they just made up on the fly. Crawford bad, man. It's a bad dude.
But tell me, you're breaking records here, right? Triple
Mm,
G arguably beat Canelo the first time, right?
okay.
It
Mm,
was a big fight lead up to it as well, right? He was
mm,
one of the baddest guys, and Canelo needed to go see him, right?
mm.
Same thing with this. Now, in this situation, though, tell me, I mean, could Canelo wake up and be like, wait a minute, 113, 115? Could that, if I won one more round, should I try to do this again? You think that could obviously get him thinking that? And what is your thoughts on that
No,
scorecard?
I think the scorecards was bogus, and you know, Canelo's a real guy. I can't, like I say, I respect him a lot. You know, I don't know what happened with the uh, with the steroids or whatever use stuff that he did with that. They kind of taints him, and everybody, you know, still make names and call him, you know, names and stuff like that. But I think he's a real guy. You know, and like you said, you know, you see Ellie Setback goofy ass talking about, oh, I thought you won. I thought you won. I had it for you. What fight was you watching? And Canelo told him, nah, man. Nah, I didn't win the fight. So a fighter knows, you know what I mean? So I give a lot of respect for
That was
Canelo.
fly. Yeah, that was fly off on Canelo's
And they
behalf.
made him look like a bitch that he is. Like, nigga, even he don't think he won. Why? How your bitch ass thought he won, and the man don't even think he won. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. Every a fighter knows when he won. You know, every fighter when he, even if he lose, he know that if he won, he knows that he won, no matter if they got a decision or not. So you know that just speaks volumes to Canelo. You know, he's a class act as well, and you know, it's just it is what it is. It don't take nothing away from him. It's just about Crawford now. It don't take nothing away from Canelo. It don't take no distinguish off Canelo. It just adds to Crawford. That's it, in my opinion.
Randomly, you know, obviously we talk boxing every day, so you know, randomly I'll look in the comment section, and you know, people will be like, "I don't know what you say," Canelo won, and you know, I look at it as like, "Damn, maybe you really a big Canelo Alvarez super fan or something like that. That you would might feel that way." But yeah, I mean, what do you think about when people do say something like that, like Canelo won?
I haven't heard nobody say that except Ellie goofy ass. That's the only person I heard say that. Nobody
Marcos
else. Nobody
Viegas
else.
said it was a close fight
Who? Marcos Dieguez? Viegas?
from Fight Hub, from Fight Hub.
Oh, firing. Firing. He delusional. Firing. He don't know shit about no boxing. Stephen A. Goofy ass said he had to fight 5-4 after 9 rounds. Fire him. He don't know nothing about no boxing. He better stick to another sport. He don't know nothing about no boxing. 5-4 after 9? Stop it, bro. Come on now. 5-4 after 9? Viegas talking about is a what fight was Viegas? What? Listen, that's the one thing we got. The truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. It was not a close fight, bro. The fight was not close. I thought Crawford won damn near every round. I thought Crawford won damn near every round. And
You,
Marcus, what boxing background do he got? Nothing. If you listen to any other fighters that fought, everybody gave it. It was an easy fight for Crawford. He made it look. It was a dominant performance. Dominant performance. He the one that hurt. How was it close? And he hurt the man. Did everything to him. Pushed him around. Stepped to him. Move. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, some people just they just dick suckers. That's just it. They just suck dick. That's it. They just live to suck dick, and he's one of them.
you know, when people actually, let me get to this super chat. Alan Day, thank you for the $2. Bud was better at every attribute, even stronger.
Exactly.
Did you feel like
Exactly.
that surprised you when you seen him turn him, or you just know Bud is super strong? That
Listen, man. Yeah. I mean, nothing surprised me in the fight. Nothing surprised me in the fight. Like I say, Crawford was a perfect fighting machine going up to the fight. I knew his speed was there, his movement was there, everything was there because we had a hell of a sparring partner. Like I was listening to you talking to another guy, and he said that the pressure was different. Yes, Canelo is a slow, steady pressure. But the guy we had was running at you like a bull. He would stay with you. You know what I'm saying? And Crawford tamed him. So, with going in with this guy and getting ready, we was already prepared for everything that Canelo had. Like I say, my personally, me personal, I worked with him with them shot all the same shots that Canelo throw. Where the faking going up the middle with the ear and going with the hook to the body, where the faking hook to the body going up to the head, where the faking the head and going to the body. I work with him on them shots constantly. The looping shot over the top, everything. That was one of the one things I work with him on constantly and religiously, and it got to a point to where, like I'm saying, Crawford, he already know where I'm going. Once I start, he's like he just looking at me in my eye and just like, just everything, 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 and it's gonna be. But so he was prepared for this, and he could see the punches coming. We see Canelo's punches coming, and I said this before too. The difference is why Crawford was gonna be able to hurt him is because he wasn't gonna be able to see all Crawford's punches. And another fella you said the same thing after the fact. He
Mm-hmm.
said that after the fact, but like I said this before the fact. Them punches gonna be coming like missiles, man. He ain't gonna be able to see them, and Crawford catch them punches, hitting with uppercuts on the inside, catching, countering. I mean, doing everything to that man. Just man doing everything. And when you see him, he start eating. He in the ring. He get off some combination, and before a boy could even think again, he let off some more. So he was eating like Pac-Man out there, man. Shout out to Bud Crawford, man.
Shout out to Bud Crawford indeed. Scotty Godbody, thank you for the 10 piece. Bud would have knocked him out had the corner not told him to stick to the game plan, and that it wasn't necessary. Stomp a mud hole in him and made him a nobody. So
Didn't see.
let's get right into that. So remember, I asked you that question again, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it because when I told you about this performance versus um the Spence performance, and when we talk about dominancy, right? I feel like
Hmm.
this one was more dominant just because of who you were in there with. You know what I mean? I think that that's just a different level of fighter. That performance was, yeah, you stopped, Spence, and it was bad, and nobody did that. That's cool, but this is a different level type of a fighter, and it was a chess match, and you took advantage of it each and every single round. What would you say though when you compare those two performances?
I think it was just Crawford goes to the next level on every time. You say this guy is this level, he goes a little higher. I would say he beat the crap out of Errol Spence, but at the same time, only because Canelo had, I wouldn't say more hype because I don't want to say it's hype. Canelo he deserved
A
everything that he
legend.
got. He deserved everything that he got, but he had a lot of fanfare behind him. Like I say, he had a lot of mystique behind him. Bigger mystique than Earl Spence. So in that sense, but they both were pretty much one-dimensional fighters. And Crawford is a multi-dimensional fighter. So they was dead before they even started. And
Mm.
the guys that picked against Crawford is only want to see Crawford lose. For some odd reason they just hate Crawford. But if you a boxing guy, like all the boxing guys that said this before the fight, I got Crawford. They didn't even worry about the weight. Bivol, Usyk, Andre Ward, Shakur Stevenson, all these different type of fighters. Timothy Bradley, and we talking about world champions here. Now we're not talking about casual fans. Talking about world champions here. They've been in the ring. There's know what it's like to go through camps and everything else that go along with it. And these guys were picking Crawford and giving him more than a good chance to win the fight. So um, I mean, man, I mean, it's nothing else to be said. I mean, Crawford just so what I'm saying about Spence, we knew everybody before he fought Spence, he beat Ugas, even though he got wobbled and everything like that. They didn't pay that no attention. They said Crawford, he's the eye collector, he's the this, he's that, and Crawford he gonna get him. And when Crawford smoked him, they started making up all the excuses. They didn't say Crawford gonna win because of the Earl Spence the accident before that. They didn't say that. They didn't say, oh well, it don't matter. Crawford gonna beat him anyway because of the accident. They said no. They didn't pay attention to him getting wobbled. All his fans of getting wobbled by Ugas. They didn't pay that no attention. All they kept saying he's the eye collector. He's going to do this and Crawford, and they fed into that shit. Then when he won, then he said they bring up everything else. Same thing with Canelo. Before it was gonna be too big. Crawford going up too many different weight classes. Canelo this, Canelo that. He's the hardest puncher. And then when he fights him, now he was washed up. Now he was on his way out. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, and Crawford said the same thing both times. When I win, they're gonna have an excuse. And it did he. So everything he done said, it then came to fruition about the fight and after the fight. Man, come on. What Crawford know that everybody else don't know?
So in that case, do you feel like if there was a rematch, do you feel like it would be something different the second time around?
I think we could stop him the second time.
Mm.
I think we could stop him the second time. I think it'll be worse. I think it'll be worse because uh honestly, I don't feel like a sharp Bud Crawford. I don't think Canelo can hurt him. I don't think Canelo could hurt him. Them guys, uh, 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 they didn't have the IQ that Crawford has. So maybe they didn't see those punches coming, but Crawford got everything ahead of him. He's 2 steps ahead of him, as you could see. None of the shit he was doing that he normally do work. Nothing. None that he normally do work. Nothing. So, can't take like I said, Canelo is bad dude, but Crawford just listen. He already had it in his mind mentally. He never. This guy, I don't think he might have overlooked Crawford in a way that he never like put himself. He either thought Crawford was gonna run, move around so much like Skull. Either he put that in his head. He put it in his head that I didn't fall. Like he said, all these guys, these bigger guys are supposed to be strong guys, and they didn't really hurt me. So Crawford can't hurt me. He probably put all these different things in his head and where he was doomed before the start. You know, and like I'm saying, on a spiritual level, he could not win because God was not he never exalted the Lord, never one time on a big stage. It says, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. And Crawford always give praise to the Lord. I never heard Canelo praise the Lord not one time. Not one. So some fella was getting on me about said everybody not Christian. I'm not. I say the Lord. I'm not saying Jesus. I'm talking about the Almighty. I'm not talking about a man. I'm talking about the Almighty Spirit that you can never see, that you will never see. The entity that moves mountains, that makes waves. You understand? Not a human being. And so when you acknowledge Him, the floodgates are open for you. Canelo never did that. So I felt that was going against him as well. But again, so he could. There was no way he was going to win. Crawford and the Lord gave Crawford all those tools and the mind and the heart to execute his plan so he can exalt him. Because who did he give praise to? The Lord.
Mm. That part. Yeah. Um, let me
We
say,
got to give praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the all-knowing, the all-seeing. Okay, the Lord. We cannot live without the Lord. All right, this is what I want you to understand. You have to thank the you're not going to see him. You can feel him. He going to talk to you. Listen, but the Almighty, we're not talking about a man. I know Jesus walked, they say, and he was God in human form. But I'm talking about the all knowing. You understand? The man,
mhm,
come on, man.
number
You
one,
got
number
to give
one,
you got to give him the praise. That's the
number one.
that's how you're gonna wake up every morning because, like you say, we all just one incident away from a life changing.
Mhm.
We all one incident away to change your life. One day you this way, the next second anything can happen, and
Nothing's
so you got to
promised.
give him the praise and the
Yeah,
thankful and be thankful. And Crawford did that. So, like I say, from a spiritual standpoint and everything else, Crawford, he was it was already written and he came true.
I love it. I love it. Smash the like button, ladies and gentlemen. We've been having over 400 people on the live. Not even 100 likes. It's nasty work. I see you. The hate be real. Bernie, I was watching your live yesterday. I was watching you. You was so hyped, and you was letting it. How did the arena act? You was talking a little bit about it. Share with us. So you said some of the haters was like not even looking or sad. Like, talk to me. How was the arena after the big win?
Yeah, like I'm saying, and I don't want to name no names or nothing, and I don't, I hate to be the one to speak to the negativity, but a lot of people didn't want Crawford to win. I feel, A
Mm.
lot of people wasn't really happy that he won. And I don't. I still haven't heard Mayweather say nothing. And Mayweather wasn't even at the fight. You know, it's in Vegas. How do you not come to the fight? How do you not, as much as you love Crawford, how do you not come to the fight?
He just
But
showed how
that's
much he
okay.
made on the ticket, right?
And but never, I never heard him give out no public
Announcement.
praise to Crawford.
Yeah.
He never give no public praise. He still ain't came out and said, "Man, that was a hell of a fight." Nothing. He didn't give no praise. After the Spence fight, he called him on the phone. He this and that. I don't. I still like I'm saying.
Mm.
There's no. Where was his reaction at? So you know, like I say, he shut a lot of guys up, and a lot of the Mexican fans, which was sad, they was leaving. They was leaving the arena before the fight was even over. And to leave your guy why? That's when he needs you the most. Not when he winning, but when he losing. That's when he needs you the most. So
It
I
was.
said, you got a lot of people. We tend to put stigmas on each other, on black people, that this and that. But as human beings, we're all human at the end of the day. And That's to what I can speak to. And you can see human behavior, human nature, and those guys, as much as staunch supporters as they say they were leaving. They didn't even stand there to stand with their guy. They walked out on him, when it looked like he was losing. So, and I said the same thing about Roberto Duran when he did the no mas. They never asked what's going on with him, because he wasn't just getting his ass beat by Sugar Ray Leonard and he quit. You know, he whatever however reason he quit, but they all turned their back on him for that. Nobody never wanted to see where he was coming from. So when you winning, everybody with you. When you're losing, not so much.
You and I seen that you had like you shared some words to Turkey when you guys were in the ring. I seen you with the belts. What did you say?
To Turkey? No, no, no. I didn't say nothing to Turkey. We might have shook hands about it. We might have shook hands on it, but no. The security was being so weird about like Turkey, like somebody trying to do something to him. Like, so I was yelling at them like, "Ain't nobody touching him." I mean, I'm a man just like him. He's not better than me. Compare. He's not better than me as a person. He's not better than me. What would I be? Why would I? He's in the ring with all these people. If he, you know what I mean, what you gonna do any fucking way? If I would have did anything to him, or somebody want to knock him upside the head, or what would he would have did? Nothing. He would have been in a fight for himself too. You know what I'm saying? The security. So I mean, nobody in there had a gun. Nobody in there had a knife. They secure. It was. But who wants to mess? Who's thinking that? Turkey been nothing but good to people. Why would somebody want to hurt him? I know it's crazy, but I'm just saying. And then me of all people, y'all see me. I'm sitting right ringside. I've been. What would I get in the ring in our biggest night to do something to Turkey? What would that? They don't even make no sense. You understand? They don't even make no sense. What? So I was yelling at them like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And like I say, I was just in there. I was right there in the ring, in the area where the ring. I wasn't in the crowd. I didn't have to jump the gate or nothing. I was right there. Bud had to tell him to let me in the ring. What you mean? I've been with the man through the whole time. I'm one of the trainers. I can't work the corner, obviously, because it's only allowed so many. But I'm in the corner. Y'all see me on the jumbotron working the pads with him. I had the same hat on. You
Y'all
see
see
me
me
in the
on
back.
Netflix.
Exactly. So you see. So what the fuck is you talking about? They what, just because y'all might have heard me talking and you don't like that, you might like my personality or feel some type of way about me. Listen, I'm getting in the ring. I'm a trainer. I train this guy. I'm with this guy. You feel me? So I'm only getting in the ring to celebrate with him. Now, when you see, okay, once we did that, and all I wanted to do was see him put the Ring magazine belt on him, because I'm a historic type of guy. You understand? So I wanted to see him with the Ring magazine. They had that belt. I've been looking at it the whole time. They had it in the case. I've been watching it the whole time. Ever since they had the motherfucker, they showed it was gonna be what it was. I've been watching it the whole time. I told all the security guards that's gonna be mine when we win it. I'm gonna sleep with the belt, and I did.
That's
As
that
soon as
goat
he got in
shit.
the back room, He give me the belt. Soon as he got in the back room with the doctor, he said, Bernard, come get the belt. I went and got the belt and held the belt all night. I slept on
Oh,
I
I
put it on my
seen you.
couch
Oh, I
all
seen
night. I
you.
had the belt with me all night. You understand? So like I say, so that was the conflict. Now, when I asked him before the even fight started, I seen him look out. I seen him look out in the crowd. I said, "Where's the kids?" I asked him, Ish. I said, "Where's the kids? Where's the children at?" I didn't see them close. I didn't see them around the ring. I'm sure they were somewhere, but I didn't see them. So I said, "Where the children?" When the children came in the ring, I backed away. If you know, I went all the way to the corner. I didn't care about nothing. I went all the way into one of the corners and sat there and watched them. Let the children come around. Let the children celebrate with him. That was the only thing. I didn't have to be nowhere in the camera. I didn't have to do nothing. All I wanted to do is see him put the Ring magazine on him. That was it. They're gonna say his name. That was it. You know what I'm saying? So that was just my whole thing. You know what I mean? That was my whole thing. I wasn't, and that pissed me off. People saying, "But no, I seen you yelling at somebody." Yeah, I'm yelling at them dumb motherfuckers because they acting like I'm doing something wrong. Piss me off.
There's lots of clips of Dana White on his phone, not even watching the fight. Um, Obviously, Sean Tatel's big question when it came down to the Ali Act protecting the fighters. He had really not much to say. What do you think about all that?
Well, if he wasn't watching the Crawford fight, what I don't know what is
He
he
had a
into blood?
UFC fight going on in the same time as well.
Well, he should have been his goofy ass over there then. Shit, good. I don't know. I don't care. You know, if he wasn't watching the fight, then he missed. He was missing a live show. You know, he was missing a masterpiece in real time. You know, so I don't give a fuck. You know, he probably whatever it is about him. You know, what can I say? I don't really care about that. You know, like I say, if you didn't want to see that masterpiece in real time, that's on you. You want to go see blood and gore, you want to go watch your UFC, the company that you built. That's okay too. You know, I don't feel no qualms about it. As far as the Ali Act, I don't not necessarily real versed about the Ali Act. You know, it's just I think that what it stops the promoter from being an advisor or some it takes their hand
Right.
out of the pot somehow. So I think it's all for listen, um for each one needs one, you know, and why would you not protect your investment, which is fighters. You know what I'm saying? And you should want to have a mode for your gladiators. You know, fighters are human beings at the same time. So why wouldn't I don't understand that. So you should be trying to protect your fighter at all time. If the fighters you're working with, and you should have some level of respect for humanity, all in with as well. You know, as well. I feel like that. You should have empathy and sympathy for humanity. You know, if you want to get in a racket of fighters, you should kind of put yourself in the mind of a fighter, and why would you want to see a fighter beat up and broke and with nothing? Any fighter.
Right, right, and it can ultimately, adjust fighter pay and how that is perceived. Boxing, you know how it is, Bernie. It's one of the biggest, cash cow sports when it comes to one night of entertainment, taking
Hmm.
as much money as you can. Obviously, the UFC has a stigma of these guys not necessarily getting paid as much as the boxers. I mean, how
Yeah.
do you feel like this? This new league TKO. They're also advertising it a little bit differently, saying that the winners of the TKO league will be broadcasted on some of these big rehab cards. So I mean, yeah, there's a lot to that, and that's why I wanted to kind of get your thought on it.
Well, boxing is an art form first. You know, we gotta. I think we get a lot. We get past boxing is an art when you break it down. That's the thing we gotta now like I say it can take you from a different place and put you in a higher position if you make it that far. But boxing is an art form. That's why if I'm telling a fighter, they said something in every aspect because boxing is like life. It's a fight. You know,
Translators,
when
life
they say
itself.
fall in love with the journey, you know. So If you hone your craft to be the best, then everything else will come to you. So that should be your first priority, is to be the best. Then you have a leg to stand on, far as your pay, far as everything else. You are the best. That's the and everything you want to be the best. Whatever field you want to be the best, and it's a lot of competition in every field. It's a
Right.
lot of competition in every field. So you want to have something to separate yourself to make you into the best. You know what I mean? So that's what I would tell the guys. That's most important for other guys, and we need to understand that. But boxing is an art form. Boxing is an art form, and Crawford showed how much of an art form it is. Crawford showed how much of art form it is. They was talking about Crawford opening up his gloves. Well, he opened up his gloves when he on defense, because if you got it here,
You're
you
not
only
gonna get
protecting
much.
this one. But when you open it, okay, so we
That's the
so we talking
correct
about
way.
art. We talking about art. We when the strategy that he used against different opponents. So boxing is an art, man, and that's what we need to understand about mostly. It's an art.
And another and more of that art, right? You would see that Crawford would catch a lot of those shots with his elbow versus, the actual arm itself, because we've seen that, Canelo would, hit what Callum Smith,
Mhm,
right? Busted up
mhm,
his muscle. So if you
mhm,
at least giving you like a bone structure versus, sometimes they say the
mhm,
Mexicans, they're not gonna give you, if they can't get your timing, they're gonna get your this part of the head versus,
mhm,
keeping it up.
mhm. He
That's
tried
a
to chop him one time. I seen that. He tried to chop him one time, and he hit him on the arm maybe one or two times. But like I say, Crawford knew all that, and most of them guys, they laid on the ropes. You know what I'm saying? The other Callum Smith, he was laying on the ropes. Canelo tap, 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 boom, tap, tap,
mhm.
tap, boom, boom. So Crawford knew all those things. He took all those things into account, and he nullified them. He took all his everything that he do away, which is what you should do. You take his best weapons away, and he's defenseless. He's harmless after that. So that's just give a credit to Bomac and Saul and Red and to Crawford himself. Because Crawford studies as well. He's a great boxing mind on his own. So you just got to give them guys credit for uh you know that's why it's important to watch your opponent. In this day and age, you can watch your opponent. Back in the day, they used to watch them. They used to go to the fights and see them. A lot of fighters was at the fights, and you go like Joe Lewis. They used to send Joe Lewis. They would be at the fights watching his opponents. Watching heavyweights. Jack Johnson was a scouter as well. So
When you hear fighters
you
say that they don't do film study, what do you think about that?
well, it depends. I definitely think you should watch your opponent, but I think you should watch boxing because at the same time, it's like the Crawford punch. Like I say, that punch, he made that on the fly, but that's something you can incorporate in your own. You understand? So you watching stuff from different guys that you can take from. That's why it's important to watch boxing because it opens up your mind. Besides a 1-2, a 1-2-3, a 1-2-3-4, it gives you a different dynamic. Like I say, you watch Lomachenko with the angle, but I seen Orlando Canizales, the longest reigning bantamweight or the most title defenses. He was doing it way before that. You seen Willie Pep dipping and rolling and stepping. You seen Sweet Pea. You seen all these different guys with different levels of talent and different things they're doing that you can steal from. Take from these guys. That's why you should watch boxing because it gives you a different way to think.
100%. Big question here, obviously. You've seen the Jose Benavidez interview, has a couple questions gearing up to that one, but also Turkey Al Sheikh saying, hey, can Benavidez make 168 pounds? Lots of people are talking about, that was towards Crawford. Yesterday, Shakur Stevenson did an interview saying that he believes that Terrence Crawford can beat David Benavidez. Tell me, what's your thoughts on Turkey's tweet and the matchup per se? Do you feel like that's something that is, I don't know. You tell me. I mean, Bomac is saying no.
No,
Crawford's
I
saying
agree.
no.
I agree. No, and I want to salute Benavidez for saying David for saying no. Crawford is too small. Because Crawford is a small guy, and like you say, Canelo was a smaller guy moving up. David Benavidez always been a big guy. He never fought at a lighter weight, and he's huge. And I think and That disturbs me about Turkey. That'll piss me off and make me start talking shit about him just for stupid shit like that. Because I was mad at Mayweather when he proposed that, And even Tank said, "Now, what if he love you or he care about or this and that? Why would he say that stupid shit? Him fight Benavidez. Come on now. Let's not. Okay, so then that kind of okay. That pisses me off, and it's almost like he got the money. You know what I'm saying? And basically I can control you with the money, so to speak. You feel me? Like so now I'm gonna present this to the Benavidez fight. No, 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 no. Benavidez should be going to fight Bivol and Better Be and these type of guys because he's ready for that type of competition. That's where
Shiraz possibly.
Benavidez. Who you say?
Shiraz possibly.
Okay, yeah. Shiraz, because he had 68 though, right? Shiraz is 68.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
tall
yeah.
fella.
But Shiraz, David Benavidez is a two-time world champion. Shiraz just his biggest win is over Edgar Berlanga, and Berlanga was just a lot of fluff. So let's not,
In a
he did damage
controversial
on the
draw with Carlos Adames.
controversial draw, and that wasn't controversial. Adames won that fight. But you know what I'm saying? Okay, he still hung in there with Carlos Adames, and that was at 160. Moved to 68, beat Berlanga or whatever. But we ain't talking. David Benavidez's levels and against this guy. So
Agree.
he's Benavidez is ready for B-Ball or Better Be. He's ready for the upper echelon guys in that weight class. Being that he was a two-time world champion, and he fought Andre, and he fought Morel, and he beat Bosdick, was a former champion, and the like. So David Benavidez, he about to fight Yardy, who was a champion. Did he beat Kovalev? Who did he beat? Did he end up
No,
winning
he
the
got knocked
title?
out by Kovalev.
But did he ever win a title? Did he beat what the fuck is his name? Uh Selin Barrera or somebody or something? I don't
I
know.
think
I
he
don't know.
might maybe.
I don't know. Okay. So he's finna fight that guy. And so I think that's where he's at. But I that disappointed me when I seen that David Benavidez make 68. I don't think that's a good fight for Bud, and I don't think it's a big fight. I think Bud, then, as far as big fights, I think this is the biggest fight. And like I said, if you want to see Bud, if you're going to watch a master at work. So these will be showcase fights for Bud, so to speak, going in at 60 or whoever else he fights.
Back in 2023, they saying he was a unified champion, WBC,
Yardy,
IBF, and WBO.
Yardy,
Yardy,
Yardy, nah,
British
he wasn't.
professional light heavyweight boxer. Yeah,
Yardy won all the. No, I don't think he would.
I
He
never,
who he
I
beat?
never thought he won that many titles.
Did he beat Kovalev? He had to win. He
Nah,
had to
he got
inherit.
knocked out by Kovalev. I seen that.
Okay, so he must have beat Sullivan Barrera or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um,
I didn't think he won all them titles though, for real. But I'm gonna look it up when I get off the phone with you. Yeah.
um,
So like I say, I don't. I see Shakur. I know, like you heard, he said he has a great enthusiasm for Crawford and thinks he could beat him, but I don't see where that's necessary for real. I don't see where
but
that's necessary for real. Benavidez has he gains nothing from beating Benavidez, except he's gonna be considered a giant slayer, or something. But I don't see that. I don't think Bud needs that, man. Canelo was as big as you get, and it was already a uphill battle with that because, like I say, the guy is a Hall of Fame guy. The guy got everything you could think about. He's a hard puncher. He's a seasoned guy, and so and Crawford made it look easy. That you don't get no better now. I hope we ride off in the sunset. I truly do. I hope he pulls one and just is nothing else to prove in boxing no more. You've been a four-time Ring Magazine champion, a three-time undisputed champion, a five-weight world champion overall. I mean, you just don't get no better than that. And why not leave when everything is going great for you, when when you got all your faculties? Because, like I say, I believe he got enough money, and he's so smart with his money. He's not going to want for nothing in life no more. So, the training camps are grueling, like you say. It's not easy because the training camp be worse than the fight. Man, come on. So I would like to just see him. Hey, he did everything he could do, and y'all gonna miss him when he gone. That's what I would say. I hope so.
I see some people pushing. You know, um, do what Canelo didn't want to do. Fight. the guy that he's been ducking?
Well, if I was Canelo, that'd be the fight I'm looking for. I'd be trying to fight Benavidez now. Fuck it. I wouldn't worry about Crawford no more. I would he sacrificed himself, like you say, he had a lot to lose or perceived, to say he hurt
But
his
that's
legacy. But
passing the torch, though, isn't it?
yeah, I, I mean, yeah, you could say that. You could say that, yeah, in a sense. But like I say, if I was Canelo, I'd be trying to fight Benavidez now. Go get right back in the spotlight. Go right back in the spotlight. Go with a guy that you can hit. You know what I'm saying? Because Benavidez is gonna be there to be hit, and maybe go up to 75. Where you a little stronger. I think Canelo kind of trimmed himself down a little bit, trying to be a little bit more quicker and a little bit more agile for Bud.
I
I
think
think
so
he
too.
changed himself. He seemed a little slimmer, in this fight, So I think he wanted to try to be a little bit more agile for Bud. And I think with 75, he probably won't have to do so much. So I would try to be fighting Benavidez now. Forget it. Let's just get it on down. Maybe for one of them titles at 75 if like I say, they strip one of them guys, or I don't know. But if he went out, I wouldn't be mad at Canelo neither if he retired. I wouldn't be mad because he done so much. What else is it really to do?
And your reaction to his father, Jose Benavidez, saying that
Oh, just a hating motherfucker. Just a hating motherfucker. Oh my God. Just a hating motherfucker. And I knew, and when he said that goofy ass shit, he said, he I think he was saying about it too. Maybe Canelo was past it and everything like that. And that if the fans
he's
wanted
all done.
Crawford to, huh?
He said he's all done. He said Canelo's all done.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, they never take no accountability. Where was you at when the when coach? Where was you at when the man was missing weight? Where was you at, coach? Where was you at, Mr. Manager? Where was you at, Pops? Never take no accountability. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, he say? He said the people want to see the fans don't want to see that. They want to try to see Crawford get beat, but that's not a fight everybody want to see. Crawford fight Benavidez. And then he said this. He said he was saying that Crawford don't have no fans. Crawford not a draw, but when Crawford fought this guy, it was a record because it was Crawford involved in it. When he didn't break no record when he fought in Billy, he didn't break no record when he fought Berlanga. He didn't fight no record when he fought Munguia. There was no records. He fought
He
in
never fought
Mexico, right?
Mobility. He never fought Mobility, but he fought.
I mean,
I
not
know he
Billy.
Skull.
What's it? Skull. Yeah. So like I say, now when we talking about, okay, so listen to this. He fought Munguia in Mexico, right?
Yes.
Okay. There were no records broken in that fight.
Did he?
He fought him in Mexico. He fought him in. I think he fought him in
I
Mexico.
thought John Ryder was in Mexico, but
Okay.
okay.
Okay. So even say that. That makes it even better. So he fought John Ryder in Mexico, right? And no records was broken.
Mm,
When Julio Cesar Chavez fought Greg Haugen in Mexico, it was over 100,000 people in there. Now that's a record.
mm.
When he fought Greg Haugen, when Chavez, because the way Chavez is, he broke a record. Okay. Now Canelo's supposed to be just as big or big. It was no record. He fought Greg Haugen. Greg Haugen was get good as a whoever we said, John Ryder or somebody. I mean, maybe a little better. He was world champ, but this is the point I'm trying to make. There was no records broken. If he'd have fought anybody, there's no records broken. Maybe Benavidez. That was a lot of hype on that fight. But outside of that, he needed somebody like Crawford to break those records. So you gotta to say that Crawford doesn't have that's propaganda. That's a way to try to diminish Crawford and try to put him down. Crawford has a huge following. A huge following. Now, it was a lot of Mexican there. It was Mexican holiday. It wasn't Black History Month. It wasn't Martin Luther King Day. It wasn't Malcolm. You understand? It wasn't that. And they're very proud. We don't even have that. We don't even have that in the culture like that. Like Black, we got a whole month. They got 2 days, Cinco de Mayo and Mexican Independence Day. That's their day. It was, of course, it was gonna be, and the ticket prices was astronomical. Who could afford to do that?
Mm.
Nobody. Who could afford to do that? Crawford had plenty of fans in there. He had a lot of white fans. See, that we can't just talk about blacks. He had a lot of whites too. He had lot of white people rooting for him too. So, like I'm saying, but it was Mexican Independence Day. Of course, they're gonna come out in droves. They're celebrating their heritage.
And a lot of
We,
celebrities.
oh, I was with everybody. I was with I had Charlie Sheen, Joe Dirt, right there with me. I had, of course, Angel Reese back there with the homegirl. I had Dave Chappelle, Tracy Morgan, Wiz Khalifa, Charlize Theron, uh, motherfucking Sophia, whatever her name is, from Modern Family or something. I had her over there. It was so many people over there right there next to me. So many people. Now, one of my biggest fans is Jason Stratham.
Oh,
So,
word.
so Jason Stratham. Now as he come over there, he was talking to Turkey Al Sheik. He seen me. He seen me. He stopped talking to Turkey and come over there and shake my hand. Uh,
Let's
uh, uh,
go.
Giving me all kind of props and all kind of praise and everything. One of Buzz lawyers, Harrison, he was amazed by that shit. He was shocked. Like Bernie, he stopped talking to Turkey Al Sheik when he seen you and come over here to talk to
Yeah,
you.
I think
So
I think the 423 people out here is hearing that shit like, oh shit.
yeah, so I didn't even post the picture that I went, and then all the paparazzi guys they took pictures and everything like that. But like I say, I still didn't post that picture, but I knew who the guy was when he came to me. I didn't pay no attention before because I watch movies and I'm a buff. You know what I mean, for everything. Sports trivia. I'm a buff, but like I say, this guy come over there shaking my hand and telling me how much of a fan he is, and you know what I mean. So I mean, I'm lightweight celebrity with this shit. You know what I'm saying? And
Go.
he had a he had enough. He had enough love or whatever to come over and say all the other guys they knew who I was, but they try to act like I'm nobody. You know
It
what
be
I mean?
like
They
that.
didn't want to. You know what I'm trying to say?
So
And I
so when they
treated them the
see when
same
they
way.
when they see him pull up, they're like, oh, I wish I didn't see that.
And listen, you know what I'm saying? And all the rest of them, I didn't bother him. I did say what's up to Tracy Moore. I threw the heads up to him. Dave Chappelle, I follow him a lot. I've been watching him since before everybody was on Dave Chappelle, man. I go back to his first
Mhm.
stand up. So you
Yo,
know what I'm
big
saying? I
fan.
had a chance to say what's up to him, and it was real cool. Hollered at Angel Reese, and I just hollered at, but I ain't really reach out to nobody. I wasn't going around the arena like trying to see who I saw and you know what I mean? Shit like that. Me and Magic, we threw the fist up. You know what I mean? But like I say, I ain't one for fame and all that type of shit. When you on the tube or whatever, people will see you. But like I say, sometimes they don't want to acknowledge you or act like they bigger than you or bigger than you or you know what I mean? And to a certain extent they are. They real movie stars, you know what I'm saying? But I'm Bernie the Boxer, baby. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I'm just him, period. You feel me? Everywhere I go. And it been like that my whole life. You know what I'm saying? People hollering at me, honking down the streets. You know what I mean? My whole life. So I've been popular since I was a baby. Since
Let's go.
kindergarten. You know what I mean? So it was a good experience though. It was a beautiful atmosphere, and man, to come away with the victory was just and the way he did it, man. So I'm just so happy for the guys, because like I say, if you listen to their stories and um, a lot of people, probably if you made it, everybody that so-called made it, the struggles that they went through, because they was kicked around too. Nobody loves you until you make it. You understand? You got a core set that fuck with you and believe in you and you just gonna be the same no matter what. You know what I mean? You gonna be the same. They don't give a fuck if you and some of them will tell you, I don't give a fuck if you know movie star. I don't give a fuck if you know what I'm saying? You still the same guy in my eyes. But the
And those are the
struggle to
ones that don't hit the like button.
so like I said, so I'm so happy for Saul. Man, one day when they tell their story, because they you haven't heard Bomac's story. You never heard his trials and tribulations in life to get to this point. Saul, you know what I'm saying? Red, you know what I'm saying? I kind of told my story already. I let my shit be known. You know what I mean? But and that still really haven't blown up yet, but that's okay. But like I'm saying, I'm just so happy for these guys because when I see Bo, I be so happy that I know him because we've been, in the trenches and been on fuck the B side, the C side. You know what I'm saying? And so to see them reveling in the accolades, in the prestige, in the fame, in the glory. I just love it, man. I swear. Like for all of them, before they brought me up as a trainer, you know what I'm saying? you know, like I say, I just watched them and I'm just so happy for them. But to see it, to be with them every day and to realize that we do whatever we want, what we eating tonight. You know what I'm saying? Let's go shopping. Let's go, you know what I'm saying? To see this or, to see him taking care of so many other guys, just watching out for him and Saul just in red, just the way they are, they come back with loads of food and they treating the guys in the gym they buying them clothes and shoes and just sharing all their riches and Bud the way he just takes took all the guys from let them be in his house and to see him just do that shit is just I love that shit, man. So I'm just so happy for them, man. I'm just it really just like I say it just makes me so joyful, man, to see my guys that I known all my life, and to live that life, man. So I'm just so happy for him, man. And I'm so happy for Bud, man. I always knew this and around the city they say Bernard before anybody told me about him it was you. You take him around everybody you keep telling us this guy gonna be this type of guy. And so I
Big
just was in my
brother.
bar. He said, I tell her. He said, I was just telling people. Bernard told me a long time ago this guy was gonna be he was gonna be it. And like I say, to see him doing his thing and to the way he take care of his family and to see that shit, I just love it, man. Bought them all houses, bought them all cars, took care of his mama, take care of the grandma. I mean, man, the amount of money it takes to do this shit, but he does it with nothing. Because like he said, Bernard, I never would have had this kind of amount of money. So the money that I spend or the money that they take, shit, that's still more money. I still got more money left over that I would never even have. I still got plenty. And when you live like that and you think that's how your blessings keep coming, that's how they all live. Red, Saul, Bo, that's how they all live. They got the riches, but they ain't too big and they share it. And it's just for anybody. When you share, the Lord will make a way for you. I'm so spirit. That's just truth. When you give, it will come back to you. You don't want to overgive and lose, but when you give and you don't looking for nothing back and you're doing it generally out of your heart, that shit always come back to you, man. It just go full circle for you. So I'm just so happy for them, man. I'm just so glad and in that aspect, man. I'm ecstatic.
That's fly. That's fly to have that brothership, man. Cole J Darko, thank you for the $2. Please tell Bud to tell Turkey to get rid of Dana. What you
Mm.
think about that one?
I don't know. Like I say, I don't have nothing to do with none of that stuff. That stuff don't concern me one bit, But like I say, well, if the thing with Turkey Alashi, what I'm saying about can David Benavidez or hitting with shit like that, I think that's just bullshit. That's just bullshit. Yeah, yeah. It don't. It's nobody like Bud in their stable, but the next is Shakur. So let's start pushing Shakur. A guy who they've been putting propaganda on him, but wants to fight. So let's get him. He gonna fight Tio. Let's fight Tio.
Mm.
Let's get the next ones going. Let we got a Shakur is a lot younger. So let's start pushing him. He's the next generation. Generational talent, a big ego competitor. Let's start going for Shakur. Because like I say, Crawford, if he's not, if he's you got to be considered on his way out because of what he's accomplished. You understand? So he's got to be considered on his way out on what he's accomplished. And his age as well. He's his age as well. The way he looked like he can go on for another 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Like they said about LeBron. At this age they usually fizzling out, but this guy's still playing at a high level. Crawford the same way. But like I say, so Turkey Al Sheikh, let's start putting money. Let's start investing in the younger generation, man. Let's just start putting the machine behind this guy. And I think he's one of them. Because he likes to fight. He doesn't turn down no fights, and he wants to be great as well. So let's just start pushing for him. I think that was just it was just kind of a bad taste about that. If he was hitting to Benavidez and Bud fighting, I think that was taste.
Do you think that that fight will take place? Do you really feel like Teofimo Lopez will fight Shakur Stevenson?
If he don't fight Shakur Stevenson, he should be banned from boxing. I wouldn't do no business with him. I think he should be banned from boxing. I think he needs to produce. He hasn't produced in a long time. He's still riding the wave of beating Lomachenko. I think that shit done fizzled out now. Okay. Um, when you talk about it, I mean, that's an accolade on him, but far as what have you done for me lately, he hasn't done nothing. He didn't look good against Barbosa. He looked okay. He did beat Josh Taylor for the undisputed, so for the Ring Magazine title, which he
Yeah.
still holds. But I mean, what have you done for me lately? And I think Josh Taylor was overrated. I think they pushed him so hard because he was undisputed. The fat of being undisputed um, overweighed his talent. I think Josh Taylor. And like I say, they was going Budman was gonna eat mincemeat with him because he was talking about moving up before that to 47. But they knew damn well he didn't have a chance in hell to whoop no Crawford. So since he was the undisputed champ, let's hold on to this. Let's hold on to this. Let's keep this as long as we can, the undisputed championship. And then he fought Teofimo Lopez, which, like I say, was maybe a pick 'em fight at the time. But after that, Teofimo has done nothing. And like I say, so if Teofimo is not fighting Shakur Stevenson, let's just get rid of him. Let's just get rid of him.
Yeah, because
He's
you
bad
know,
for boxing. I seen some other thing. When I seen him actually, I called him all kind of names. I called him every kind of bitch ass nigga name in the book. You punk motherfucker, you gonna get your ass beat and everything else when I seen him. Because like I say, that the clip just came up with him when he said, "Would you fight this guy or that guy?" And he said, "Whichever monkey want to get the banana." I really, it took me everything out of me not to go over there and fuck him up. Not saying that I could have whooped him, but it took me everything out of me for not to go over there and make a scene, to slap him, to do something. But I did call him out of his name. And when he seen, and I think we could have got on his ass a little bit more, but these guys is high profile, and that probably might hold me back because the way I talk, that might limit some of my opportunities. But but I feel like he definitely needs to be taught a lesson, and so I can't stand Tiafimo. I would never forgive him ever. So fuck him in my book.
you think Shakur Stevenson can stop Teofimo Lopez?
I don't know about stopping him, but I definitely think he can beat him. And actually, I'm supposed to be going down there with him. I'm supposed to go with him. He said, "Bernie, I want you with me for this camp." And I'm telling the world now, I'm supposed to be going down there with him. So if they make the fight, you catch me down there in Houston working with the champ.
Mm. What does Shakur like about what you bring to the table?
He said he wanted me to push him. He said he wanted me to push him. And like I say, I haven't talked to him as much, but um, he was there with the training camp, and when I see Bud working, it's not enough for me to sit still and watch. I'm gonna remind him to double the uppercut. I'm gonna remind him to step in the double hook, or I'm gonna remind him to go to the body, or I haven't seen enough jabs, when he's working the bag. But my motivation starts going up. My inspirational talk starts to get revved up, and he's seen me. He's seen that side of me, but I'm assuring him that that is not what I do. You understand? Mostly, you're not going to get that from me a lot. The motivational, you're not going to get that. You're going to get that every so often. I'm really serious when I'm in the gym and I'm working. So I want to add some things to his game. I think it's a lot he can do with his skill set, and that's what I'm hoping to bring. And to push him as well. To in every which way. To push him every which way. So we was out there, and I told him, I said, "Damn, boy, you ain't gonna do nothing." I said, "Come on now, you ain't gonna work out at all." He said, "Well, I ain't gotta fight till whenever." I said, "Shit, it don't hit the rope. It don't hurt you to hit to shadow box. It don't hurt you to hit the double end bag, hit the speed bag. You ain't gotta go crazy with your workout, but ain't nothing wrong with staying sharp. Ain't nothing wrong with staying sharp." So little things like that. So that's what I bring to the table. And And yeah, man, like I say, I worked the paths with him, of course, and that's a teaching moment. And I think I give him a different way to think, and so I think that's what he's looking forward to me, and working with me about.
I like that, yeah, because I actually heard him say that he would love to have Terrence as one of his coaches. So just hearing that, he just wants to make sure, however he got built, I wanna have a piece of that in my camp because that's what you need. Also, just what everyone else brings. Like I said, everyone brings a little something different, and I like that. Chris Legg, thank you for the $2. Congrats, Bernie, Mister Three Times.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm
Moses
looking for
20,
that.
Moses
Bogut trainer.
23. Go, my bad. Go ahead.
Nah, Bogut trainer of the year. We had Keyshawn Davis win the world title. We just won the biggest fight here. We fought a hell of a fight with Lester Martinez. We about to beat Eubank, about to beat Connor Bean again. And
So much
shit.
going on.
So
So much going on.
I'm good. Those guys get trainer of the year one more time.
Yeah, yeah. Moses 25, thank you for the $5. I always believed in Bud and have been watching him for about 10 years. Love from Australia. My only regrets is I didn't visit him when he came here.
Yeah, man. It was a kid came up to me from he said I came all the way from England. I'm a Crawford fan. I came all the way from England. Yeah.
Mm,
I was sitting outside
yeah,
of the fountain at the fountain, and the kid came up to me. Definitely a big fan of mine, and it's like you said, man. I came all the way up. I came all the way from England to see the fight, see Bud.
that's fly. Alan Day, thank you for the two-piece. Don't forget Keyshawn. He's special also.
Yeah, most definitely, most
Keyshawn will be
definitely.
back.
Yeah, definitely. Top Rank don't have a home right now. So that's why Michaela Mayer, she's fighting, but she's fighting on a different some other platform or something because Top Rank don't have a home for the host they fighters yet. Michaela Mayer is moving up to 54 to fight for the WBA title against some girl I don't know, but they don't have a home right now, so everybody's kind of what I'm saying, like in limbo right now, and maybe he, what I'm saying, I wouldn't rule out the Sheik getting with Keyshawn. It's just all on what Keyshawn want to do, and whoever handles his business and probably try to make an offer for him or get him somewhere. But Keyshawn's still a star. People make mistakes. He controversial sales, and I think they overhyped the incident, even though it was just shameful. Just the attempt was shameful. But I don't think nobody was seriously hurt. Obviously, you've seen that. It was just the kid just a little emotional behind his brother. It's like a father to him, and he got beside himself a little bit. And kind of hurt his stock a little bit. But you've seen him 1,000 times. You seen him rise and fall. You know what I'm saying? You never thought Tyson could go back and be as beloved after all the things he said. You know what I mean? After all the things he's did, you never think that he can come back and be the way he was. So it ain't about getting knocked down. It's about getting up. So we looking for Keyshawn to get up, and everybody deserves a second chance.
Absolutely. Nicholas Anderson, thank you for the five-piece. Tell Bernie we want Mayweather. Tell Turkey set it up. F that Tyson fight. He been hating from afar.
Yeah, that'll be a great exhibition fight. But you know what I said? I said it like this. At this point right now, that would be great. That would be great to see them two guys get in there. To see them match wits. But like I say, Mayweather don't have it in him for whatever reason to do that. Mayweather, he will not give that chance. And I kind of want to. It kind of reminds me, like I say, with the Jack Johnson and the Sam Langford situation, which I know y'all, a lot of people don't know that, but in the boxing world, they always criticize Jack Johnson for never giving Sam Langford a shot at the title, even though he beat him before he won the title. And Jack gave his own reasons for that, meaning that Sam couldn't hold the title the way he held the title, and I understand that. And it could have been that he was such a rough customer as well. You don't want to go through that again. Some people you just beat them and let them go. But far as that, I really would like to see him I would have liked to see him with AB, even though I know he gonna kill AB or whatever it's supposed. But I would like to see him get AB some money, man. I would like to see him get AB some money, man. You know, because if we talking about, I know Tyson, but Tyson don't bring nothing. Tyson is old, and that
Loaded.
don't even make sense. Yeah, that don't even make sense for the exhibition. Besides their names, but I feel like I would have liked to see him give AB. I told I think Marcus on Fight Hub or something. I would have loved to see him give AB a shot. Get the kid. Get him some bread, man. He didn't done enough. I think he had a good enough heart, and and was loyal to a fault. And I think give him a shot. Give him a shot at the exhibition. I think you can. I think for that, AB will get in great shape. I think that would lift his spirits, and I think he would come in as 100%. I think that would really motivate him to go in there against Floyd Mayweather in the exhibition. I think and it'd be a great build up. Be a great build up.
Speaking of AB, were you able to see him in the It Is What It Is podcast with Cam?
Yeah, yeah, and man, so I seen that, and you know the kid just having a rough time right now. I don't know what it is, but he having a rough time right now because he was with the cat. He was around us too. He was wasted. Actually, I seen him coming out the hotel, and he was with Abner Mares. Mares had him, and man, he was gone, man. He was wasted, and
Mm.
people taking pictures of him, want to take pictures with him and everything. Like, but I said, come on now. I said, Abner, get him out of here, because listen, he's wasted, man. He's taking pictures, and I don't want to see everybody taking pictures with him wasted like that. He's not in a good state. You know what I mean? And to capture that moment it's not a good it's not good. So I didn't like to see him do that. So I told Abner, I said, come on, man, get him out of there, man. Put him in the cab or whatever. Get him out of there. So I told everybody, stop taking pictures of him. Stop. Get away from him. Leave him alone. So I'm praying for him. I hope he find his way back, man. Hope he find his way back. Cause ain't no
Yeah,
answer in that bottle. No answers in that bottle.
right. No, 100%. And like, you know, some people say, "Hey, man, you took the money so you could get kind of humiliated at that point," or do you feel like it just the cards drop like that?
What you mean?
I mean, they paid him to go to the podcast. I guess Cameron said he's seen him. He's like, "Yo, come through, come through."
Uh,
And then you know how he's like, "Ah, you keep talking about old girl. We're gonna have to just
well,
pay
that
you to
was
get you out of there."
that was on AB. He shouldn't have disrespected that man like that. And see that's his problem. When the man and the man said the man's her old man was there. So why would you keep disrespecting somebody and their old man is there? You know what I mean? He and to somebody else to the point said that she didn't ever stop him neither. She was just blushing. So it should have been on her to actually put him in his place. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like at the same time, you know, with Cam being the head of the show and it's his show, he actually, man, can you please stop? You know what I mean? Because actually he's saving both of them. He's saving the guy from trying to jump on AB and feeling some type of way, and he's saving AB from having to fuck dude up or something. You know what I mean? So and making the girl uncomfortable in any sense. You know what I mean? So it was just on AB. He just what you call a fool right now. He's really acting like a fool, and that was a fool move. The man said, "Be quiet, let it go." I mean, she good looking, but I didn't see it. She wasn't no Beyonce. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? She was good, but she not Beyonce, and I think Beyonce is gorgeous. You know what I mean? So she's not Beyonce, and so um,
The liquor
it was
made it
just
look like it though.
nah. When you drunk, drunk, you just be yourself authentically. I think you don't have no filter when you're drunk. You say you don't have no you don't have you're not worried about no recourse when you've been drinking. You know what I mean? So and that's what he should have did. He should have just been able to be quiet because you ain't dumb.
Yeah.
On to the next. But so he messed himself up in that. Now, like I say, I'm praying for him, hoping he get back to somewhere
Facts.
in the middle place.
Tommy, thank you for the 5 piece. Bernie, what's good? I saw you bash on Kellerman, which I was happy to see, but same goes to Carpenter. These dudes so biased. What's your thoughts?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Like I say, Max, I wasn't really trying to get on him, but when I heard him and Ward talking about that fifth round, man, I rewatched that round. I still didn't see it, and I'm gonna go rewatch it again. When I get out, I'm gonna go watch it again. But the I don't know if they was trying to make Canelo. They was trying to for the viewers because sometimes the commentators got to try to make it seem like the fight is better than what it is, or try to try to evenly talk or try to what I'm saying. But I thought they was reaching. I didn't really think Canelo was doing that much. I didn't. And then, so that was my only thing about that. And then he said this too, though. Sometimes they don't have nothing to say, which drives me nuts. He said about maybe the 11th round, Kellerman said, he's punching him and he's landing, but is he hurting him? Why would you? That just didn't make no. That was just stupid. So Andre Ward was like, I don't know about if he hurting him, but I know he definitely getting his respect. You know, just saying stupid shit. These guys, even after the interview, he didn't have nothing much to say. They're not good. He's kind of he didn't he lost me with his questions, and they never asked no real good questions. But so that was my thing about that. But
That's when you
you
mix
know,
the MMA media with the boxing media. A lot of people say the boxing media don't know much about boxing. When you add MMA media on top of it, it's gonna be 10 times worse now.
who was the MMA media?
Everyone else, everyone else asking the questions. You see, the only
And Mike,
intelligence ones was Zell, Shantatel.
who?
Shantatel was asking the hard questions.
I don't know where. I didn't see that. I don't know where that was at.
Yeah.
But
Even
yeah,
even
man.
Canelo had to check Kellerman.
Mm,
Glazing too much Dana White, talking about like boxing's kind of like going in the decline. And Canelo had to say, wait a minute, boxing's going up. Don't
yeah,
don't don't diminish boxing like if it's not going up. You know what I'm saying? And you taking advantage that you guys have the Netflix platform to push
yeah,
boxing. That's awesome. But
yeah.
it's not necessarily we need Dana for this to skyrocket up or anything like that.
Definitely don't need Dana White. I mean, definitely don't need Dana White. What does glazing mean for real? I'm kind of lost with the term, mate. I don't know what that means for real.
Glazing is like kissing ass.
Oh,
Kind of like pushing something too much. Like talking about how boxing is better now. Like he legitly talked for like 3 minutes straight, talking about how now I'm into boxing, and the reason why now I'm back into boxing is because Dana's here. Like I was like, whoa,
mm.
And a lot of people were saying that Kellerman is not as sharp as he used to be as well.
No, no, I'm agreeing with that. I agree. I can see that. Yes, I can see that. I can see that. He didn't have no. Yeah, his his interview with Bud at the end of the fight was terrible.
Dry.
Oh, my mama was terrible. Okay, so I wasn't the
That
only
was the
one.
biggest moment in boxing at that moment of time, right there. And it wasn't an A+ performance. You're right.
No, he didn't do well at the interview. I would have liked to see Larry Merchant. I
Larry
like to see.
Merchant.
Yeah, I love Larry Merchant. I
Yeah,
love
he's
Larry
good.
Merchant. Who else was it? But it's Larry Merchant. I love Larry Merchant. I love Larry Merchant. I miss Larry Merchant.
Yeah, Larry
Yeah.
Merchant is official.
All the
Uh,
war fight- Nah, they kind of yeah, man. Nah, yeah. I miss the old guys. I miss the old guys. And
yeah,
the stuff that they put out, the stuff that they I had to watch it to show it to you to to break it down. But they be saying it's just some shit that be far left to me sometimes. They good though.
Moses
With
Moses 25 23. Thank you for the 10 piece. Bernie, if Bud and the team ever come back to Sydney, Australia, let me know, please. We are six brothers from the Butcher Boys and work together as butchers. Killer Boxing in um, Merrimackville in our partners. Merrimack is our partners. Okay.
so you gotta know you from Australia. You gotta know who Young Griffo is. You gotta
Young
understand a Young Griffo. Yeah,
Griffo.
yeah, Young Griffo.
Who's that?
Turn of the century. He was a turn of the century flyweight.
Mm.
Said he can stand on a handkerchief and never get hit. He can move without even breaking the handkerchief. So Young Griffo, and he was a hard puncher. So you gotta do your research on young Griffo. Yeah, Australian legend.
I like
Young
that.
Griffo.
I
Yeah.
like that. Next big fight, Bernie, is gonna be Keith Thurman and Fondora. What you think?
I'm not gonna count Keith Thurman out in the fight. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna count Keith Thurman out in the fight. Um, you supposed to beat the former champions when you were champion. When you don't have nobody really on the horizon. And 54-pounder, they got a lot of good fighters, but they ain't got no stars. You know what I'm saying? They don't really have no star quality in it. And they got a depth, but they don't have no stars in the division. So I'm trying to see Virgil Ortiz get a shot. I mean, how long we gonna keep him as a prospect? You know what I'm saying, or a contender? How long we gonna do that shit? So keep Thurman. You know, hopefully, Lord willing, do hope he be a better champion. Keep Thurman.
And what do you
He
mean
could
by
have
that?
he could have did better at 47. He didn't fight Earl Spence or he didn't fight Bud.
Do you feel like he avoided them, or do you feel like it was like actual, injuries?
Nah, he purposely ducked them guys. He said Bud he didn't care about the belt. The WBO belt was worthless pretty much, and Earl Spence. I don't know why he would never give him a shot. He said the kid wasn't ready. All he kept saying the kid wasn't ready. The kid wasn't ready. And then he took that big fight with Pacquiao, and of course he got beat. But still, I hope he be a better champion. He could have fought. Them was good fights, Sean Porter and Danny Garcia. Them was good fights to take. But I think definitely he could have. After those, he should have fought Bud. He should have fought Bud. Manny Pacquiao, you can't take say that, but he should have fought Bud or Spence. Should have gave them guys a shot. At least Bud for sure. Bud was he was a three-way world champion at the time.
So you actually give Keith Thurman a good chance in that fight.
Yeah, I give Keith Thurman a chance in the fight. I give Keith Thurman a chance in the fight. Yeah, give
You
Keith
know,
Thurman a chance.
Bud obviously talked about going to 160 pounds to become a sixth division champion. Tell me, when you look at those guys,
He said
what's
he
the
would go down to 60. He wouldn't go no less than 60. I don't think he said he was gonna go down there and fight them guys, but he said if he would, he wouldn't go down. He would only go down to 60.
that's what I said, right?
So you said he would go down to 60. I said he said he didn't say he would go down. He said that's the furthest he would go. He said he like he wouldn't go to he's not like thinking of going to 60. He said, but if he did, it would be at 60. That's the lowest way he would go. But I don't think he got nothing to prove at 60. I swear, I want him to retire. I truly want to see him retire. I truly want to see him retire. I can't believe the moment was too emotional at the time, and it was too much of a frenzy to retire at the time last weekend. But I would like to see him retire for real. I like to see
Mm.
him retire.
You see a lot, even to this day, Eddie Hearn saying that, Canelo Alvarez obviously lost a step in that fight as well. Eddie said that. And then he's also still saying he still wants to see the Boots fight.
And this the thing I got to say about that. I mean, at some point, Boots has to be willing to back up what his supporters are saying. I said this, and I had a big old conversation with Breadman. Eh, Why is he, if he's like that? Why is he not doing it? Why is he need us? Why is he as a unified champion and a special talent, dynamic talent? Why would he need to tune up to fight Virgil Ortiz? Why wouldn't he get straight to the bag? And Virgil Ortiz is not a champion. Okay. Why is he not facing Fondora right off the rip? Why is he not taking his championships and pressing for you know that type of shit? You know what I'm saying? Well, he
Legacy in
was
his division.
IBF and WBA, so them was some hard fights though. The IBF champion, man, that's tough. WBA champion was Crawford, and he had two opportunities to fight Crawford and then fight Crawford, but Crawford's gone. So why not? Even at that, he could fight the guy that was the interim champion. The guy that they just moved him up to the champion. Well, the bell rang, they gave some other guy that I never heard of. They awarded him the full title. So at least he could have been a champion in the division. Then he could fight. Then he got a belt to fight Fondora or these type of guys. But he turned down T.O. I argued with Breadman and Devin said it that they wanted him to fight at 52, and so Devin never fought at 47. So when you got things like that, what is his mind? Where is he? Is he that confident? Why do you need Devin Haney of all people to fight at 52? I mean, maybe because you weight drain and Devin is probably about a 47 pounder, so you trying to have some type of advantage or I don't know, but still.
You think he should have took the 40, the 52 and fought Devin?
No, he tried to make Devin fight at 52. Devin told him no. He was supposed to fight T.O. too. They were
Oh
trying to get
yeah,
him
yeah,
to.
yeah. You right about that. Yeah.
And so why would you stipulate to make to do that? You might as well just better off saying I can't fight at 47 no more instead of saying I'm fight him at 52. That don't even make sense. Do you understand what I'm saying? I would rather say I'm not a 47 pounder no more. I'm a 54 pounder. So if he wants to fight at 54, okay, because I'm at 54, but not as the 47-pound champion. I'm going to fight this guy moving up to, I'm going to move him up past 47. He just coming from 40.
Right.
That's a whole 5 pounds over. That's a whole 5 pounds. So I'm saying so if you're Superman, the way they're trying to say, why are you not acting like it? That's what I keep arguing with people. Why are you not acting like it to fight Virgil Ortiz? Now Virgil Ortiz kind of one dimensional.
Mm.
Virgil Ortiz kind of one dimensional. Virgil Ortiz wasn't no champion. Now you is the lineal and unified champion, and you need to tune up to fight Virgil Ortiz. How many tune ups you gonna need, man? Because them basically tune ups you just fought. Stanionis, like I said, Stanionis had a lot of hype. Why? Because he from Russia or some shit like that? I'm just telling the truth. Because he from Russia or something like that? What did Stanionis do to make you feel like he was somebody for real? No, but nothing. Nothing. They gave Ugas a lot of hype because he was from Cuba. Ugas didn't ever look like nothing. He gave Sean Porter a good fight, and Sean Porter was arguably the weakest link in the welterweight division
Mm.
for a skill set. And I'm not taking nothing away from Sean Porter, but I'm just saying Sean Porter was not like a killer at 147. And Ugas struggled with him. So he from Cuba. So they gave Ugas a lot of hype. He beat Manny Pacquiao, who was out for 2 years. Won the fight. Can't say nothing about that. Won the fight, but after that, you see what Earl Spence did to him.
Mm-hmm.
Beat him to death. See what Earl Spence did to him. Beat him to death. So I mean, like I said, Boots is all that. Why is he not? Why is he not acting like he all that? Why is his team not? Why is his team not pushing him like that? If he's all that, like I told Brad, he's the best in the gym. The gym don't count. You keep talking about, okay, I go along with that. He the greatest fighter ever in the gym, but the gym, you don't get no recognition out the gym. What the gym champ gonna get you?
Mm.
What the gym champ gonna get you? When Bud Crawford was moving up, he said, I'm moving up to fight Keith Thurman, the man of the division. And that's what Crawford said after he fought Diaz. I'm moving up to fight the want to fight the man in the division. I want to fight the champion. When Mayweather said when he was moving up, he said, I want to fight Kasazu. Kasazu was the champion of the division. I'm looking to fight the champion. That's what we trying to do. If you're all that, that's what Shakur trying to fight Tank. He trying to move up. He left 30 pound division because he wanted to fight the killer. He didn't go to fight none of the rest of them. He wanted to go for the killer to be the best. So why is Boots, if he all that, why is he not doing that? If he believe in himself so much and they believe in him so much, why is he not doing that? And they offered him everybody, it was all over the blogs and nothing been refuted. Virgil Ortiz even got up and said, I accepted the fight.
I guess two offers he was talking about.
I
Virgil said
accepted the
two
fight both
offers.
times. I offered him, I was gonna fight him at 47 and 54.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna fight him at 47 and 54. The man don't want to fight.
Yeah.
So
Where you do you feel like that's good promotion from Eddie anyway? Like, now that
no, I
we
think
hear that, what was that?
it's getting to be rhetoric. It's getting to be rhetoric, and it's making Eddie look bad for real. You
Yeah.
talking more than your fighter is. You talking more than your champion is. So it's making you look more like a clown. You understand? Now I understand it's promoting is different than being a clown. You know what I'm saying? You can go to a certain level to where it's promotion. It's a certain level to where it's promotion. Sometimes you got to speak truth now, and the truth is that Boots, for all his work, like I'm saying, he's not. This is why I got mad at Greg Hackett. I say because Greg Hackett, you talking about why would he go over there and fight? Uh, why would we go over there and spar with Canelo, and he might be fighting Canelo? When you think he's gonna go from but Bud made him look like nothing now, but he's gonna go from not fighting Virgil Ortiz to fighting Canelo Alvarez? Come on, bro.
Mm.
Come on. We can go from there. We can't even go in the in between. We're gonna go straight from there. He won't even fight Virgil, and he going straight from there. Come on, man. Let's be realistic about this shit, man. Let's just be realistic about it, Neil. Come on now. Like I'm saying, so I told Brad he keep telling me he's seen special and this special, and when he do, just say okay, I will. I'm not. Everybody think I'm against Boost. I'm trying to see him do it. This is what we talking about now. We already seen the shit that he could do. Now I'm trying to now that's what it's about. Now it's about that you got 30 some fights. My nigga, you a unified champion, boy. Come on now, it's your time now. What the fuck we talking about over here? Virgil Ortiz then arguably fought better competition. The only okay, he did beat, like I say, I don't want to go into it, but this is where it's at right now. This is where it's at right now. It only can go so far, just like Devin when he fought Lomachenko. I gotta fight Lomachenko now. I done fought whatever these guys. I done fought Gamboa. I done fought this guy. Now I gotta fight the best. I gotta go. If it ain't, I ain't fighting them. What am I doing? It's Shakur. These are the guys I need to be fighting now. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's the only way it's supposed to go. So Boots, they still holding them back for some odd reason. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And even like Canelo Alvarez, right? Okay, they had him. They was hyping him. They was hyping him. Then he fought for his first title against Matthew Hatton, right? Who was they said it was at a catchweight, but I don't remember that. I don't remember why it was a catchweight. Why would it have been a catchweight? I don't know. But he fought Matthew Hatton, who was only Ricky Hatton's brother. Okay. But after that, he went and fought Trout, who had beat Cotto. So Cotto, he had riding away with Cotto. Austin Trout was undefeated. Boxing beat Cotto. Cotto was like a couple times 54-pound champion. So he beats Cotto. So now he's gonna fight Trout. So he fights this guy who's not a superstar, but a good fighter, and he kept going up from there. He kept going up from there. But he had a machine behind him so he could fight guys like Angulo. He could fight guys like Alfonso Gomez. He could fight guys like that because they go from a different range. But Boots, you're talking about this man like he the second coming of Roy Jones Jr. And you got all the smoke on, you got all the work, and you won't get none. You understand what I'm saying? He got all the work. Come on, bro. If you the next Roy Jones Jr., Roy Jones Jr. didn't have that competition. Roy Jones Jr. didn't have that competition in front of him like that. He didn't have those type of guys. That's why he had to fight Virgil Hill. That's why he had to fight all them guys, them bum of the month club, because he didn't have a competition. He was so far ahead of them guys. He didn't have no competition, and he smoked them when he did. He wasn't lackluster affair. He smoked them when he did. So that some people don't get that lucky, and that's the thing that they fail to realize. You don't get that lucky to have that type of competition um available to you to rise your star status. You know what I'm saying? To rise your star status. You don't have that. It's very rare. You know what I mean? And they dropped the ball. Tank dropped the ball, and now this guy, he's dropping the ball. He got all the work in front of him, but he won't take it.
Do you feel like it was clever just to have like the matchroom, cameras there for him on the in the Canelo camp? Now hearing that also that it wasn't Canelo calling them for the work; they actually called for the work itself. Do you feel like maybe Eddie persuaded him, "Hey, go over there. We'll do some content and stuff like that. Ask him or whatever." How do you think that went down?
I mean, but still, it did nothing for him. Actually, it demonized him because a lot of people was upset that he went over there and did that. A lot of people was upset that he did that. And why would you do that? Why would if you wanted to publicize him, you could have used that when he was fighting William Skull because that would have made the William Skull fight a little bit more. It'd have glowed him up in that aspect. You're fighting
'Cause
a
it was
Cuban
dry. Yeah, that one was dry.
who's known to be boxers and this and that. And so why wouldn't and you're supposed to be moving up to 54? That would have been a perfect time to go in there and get to work with Canelo, not when he's going against Bud. I mean, like I'm saying, so now we're trying to keep using Bud to anchor him. It was the same thing I got mad at Breadman. Stop saying that he wanted to fight Bud. He didn't want to fight Bud. Of course he's going to say I want to fight Bud because who's going to say that? These guys don't have no humble. They're not going to say that. They're not going to say I don't think I'm ready right now. They're not going to say when the time is right. They're not going to say yeah I want to fight him. Yeah I want to fight him. But nothing never materialized out. He had two chances to fight him. He never set the fight. His pops they told me they didn't want the fight. That's your team. That's your team. You didn't say, like Mikey Garcia went pushed past Robert, his brother, and said, "No, I want to fight Earl Spence for whatever reason." And Robert Garcia got on camera and said, "Man, no, I don't want that fight for him. I don't want that fight for him." But he Mikey overrode him, right? And the fight happened. So this guy is not he's not where is he at? What is he doing? You know what I mean? He's not saying, Pops, man, I got this, man. I could beat this guy. It's my time. I could be no, he listening. He doing right. So for all of them, stop saying he wanted to fight Bud, because that make it seem like Bud didn't want to fight him, like Bud ducked him somehow, talking about he wanted to fight Bud. He did not want to fight Bud. He really don't want to fight Bud because he would have made it, he would have did it. They keep talking about, then he talking about he be real respectful, he real this and real that. But at some point, come on now. This is my career, ain't it his career? They work for him, right? I didn't know that he worked for them. They work for him, correct?
That's
All
right.
right then. And so here we go now. The promoter works for the fighter. The trainer works for the fighter. Okay. So if the fighter, now listen, now your job is to say, now listen, I'm only telling you what I only can give you the best advice. If you don't take it, that's on you. I'm not gonna take no blame for this. Okay. If you want to rush into this, you got two fights. That man got 70 fights. He's a whirlwind beater, and you think you can beat him. I ain't gonna say if you get ruined, it's on you. They ain't gonna be on me because I didn't told you. But if you gonna override me and you want to do it, I'm gonna help you the best I can. That's the only thing I can do is get you in the best possible shape, give you the best possible game. But if that's what you want to do, that's what you gonna do. Okay. Now we talking about a guy that got 30 fights, not two fights, not 15 fights. He didn't fought world level fighters. He didn't fought different adversities. When we gonna take the training wheels off of him? When he gonna take the training wheels off? So it's everybody keeps saying I get dislike Boots. It's not that I dislike Boots. I'm just trying to see put up or shut up. I'm tired of hearing about how much this and how much that, but ain't no proof in the pudding.
Mm,
And can anybody understand that?
mm,
How you gonna be Michael Jordan, but all you play is high schoolers? Come on now.
mm.
Fuck. When you gonna go to the league, boy? Fuck wrong with y'all? Damn, motherfucker can't understand that. I'm trying to see him look like Roy Jones. I'm trying to see that shit. I have yet to see it.
And with the fighter that he has coming up against, I think October 11th at his hometown, Lema. You, you don't like that opponent? Do you feel like he can oppose any type of threat to Boots?
Who is he? Anybody can pose a type of threat because they fighters, and it's different when a guy trying to beat you as opposed to just fight you. When he's trying to win, that's different. You know what I'm saying? You seen that when a guy hungry and trying to win, he dangerous. It's not easy. Now the fighters make it look easy. I hope they listening in slow motion. They make it look easy. It's not easy. They make it look easy. When the guy trying to beat you, he's the worst one to fight. He's trying to win. Some people go in there looking for the check and already defeated before they get up them steps. Okay, But when you got a guy, I don't know this. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know. Just like the guy that Steven was fighting, that guy was trying to win. He got a 12-4 record, but he fighting a guy that hangs out with Bud Crawford that only lost a close fight to Pachenko, a good fight with Pachenko. Listen, man, he trying to get his way back up. He done upset some guys, and like he said, Steven next. Okay, so he was hungry. So it's gonna be hard to beat a guy like that when they hungry. You're gonna have to beat them. Okay, so I don't know what this guy is. He's hungry or not. I don't know. But again, why is Boots fighting a guy like that when he had Ortiz on the table? When he had Devin Haney on the table? Brian Norman fighting Devin Haney.
That's right.
And Brian Norman ain't had none of the publicity, none of the hype, nothing. He just now getting his feet wet on world stage, world title level shit. And he already going to Japan fighting motherfuckers in the country. You know how hard it is to fight in Japan? How to go over there and the all that different type of stuff he had to go through. Now, like I say, I didn't know who the guy was, but still, you gotta go, boy.
Gotta go
Come on,
now.
man.
Fight Devin Haney and Saudi Arabia now.
So now he going, okay, so he got that he had already traveled abroad and seen what it's like to go with the time change and do. But Brian Norman, a fighter. Brian Norman, no matter what, he's a fighter.
Mm,
Sometimes he might look terrible, sometimes he might look good, and he's been looking good lately. But Brian Norman, when you get in there, ain't gonna be no easy fight with Brian Norman.
mm.
You ain't gonna get no easy fight with Brian Norman. He gonna be tough. And like they say, when you win the championship, you go up even higher. Brian Norman, he feeling himself. He feeling a lot better. His star is rising. He's hungry. Brian Norman is hungry. He been hungry. Like I say, he had that lackluster fight with Crickjaw, but terrible style anyway. And he didn't look that good. But ever since then, they put him with guys, and he been looking good. Now he's gonna fight Devin Haney. Like I say, he took that fight with both hands. He was gonna fight Boots. Boots turned them down. They made sure they didn't get that fight for whatever reason. Like I'm saying, listen. And if they would have believed in Boots as much, they would have gave Brian Norman the extra little money that he needed. Because then Brian Norman going back to obscurity. So we'll give you a couple of hundred extra, 100,000 because this guy is so good. We gonna make that back 10 times. We gonna make that money back 10 times because he's so good. But if he beat a tough, strong guy like you and unify the championship and go on, then we're gonna make so much money off of this guy. We give you a couple 100,000 because you got something that we want. You got something that we want. You can't have something that somebody want and try to give them peanuts for it when they worked hard for it and they holding on to it tight with both hands. Come on now, Mill. Am I lying? When am I wrong? How you want me to sell something to you for cheap?
Right.
No, I'm not. It's not going to come cheap. You don't have nothing for me. It's all again. I'm not selling it to you for cheap. Okay. If you want this and y'all believe in it, you got to go get it. If you want something, you got to pay for it. That's it. But they didn't do that, right? Okay. So listen, man, come on, bro. I'm so sick of it. Like I say, I hope the guy just do all the stuff that they said he gonna do. That's all. And I've yet to see it. I've yet to see it. They keep talking about. Listen, if Bud wasn't everything like that, I'd been quiet. I'd be quiet. But I know what he lives. I know these talking about they with him in the gym. I'm with him in the gym too. I've
Hmm.
been with him in the gym since he was 7. So I've seen what he is too. So I've been singing his praises and ever since then. They singing his praise, but only thing Crawford, he living up to everything I'm saying. That fella letting them down. And they not
Hmm.
upset about it. They not upset about it. They got an excuse why he didn't fight Virgil Ortiz. They ain't mad about that. They not
Hmm.
shaming for it. Why he pulling Devin Haney up to 52? They not upset about it. Breadman had every excuse in the world. Oh, I don't talk to him about that. Oh, I don't know this. Oh, I don't know that. Man, please. Man, please.
Energy, energy. Bernie in the house. Really appreciate you, Bernie, man. For this was like a 2 hour spill
Yeah,
fire segment, man. I really appreciate your time. My last
yeah,
question is Lester Martinez.
yeah.
What you thought about that performance? A lot of people seen a new name coming out of the gym, and they're actually really impressed.
Yes, yes. Lester, he got a lot of upside to him. He got a lot of upside. And I feel like if we could have separated ourselves and had he listened a little bit more to the things I was trying to teach him, where we were trying to teach him, leading up to this fight, I think that he could have stopped him, Billy. But I feel like now all the things, because he told me, all the yelling that I did to him, all the upsetness that I showed him, that I got with him, and I think it's coming into his head now, and to be on that stage and to fight a guy like that, I think it's gonna open up his eyes more into receptive to what we're trying to teach him. And I feel like if he can add that wrinkle into his game, the sky is the limit for Lester.
You think the decision was made correctly? Do you like the draw?
I thought we won, but I was glad that we didn't lose it because I think they had us down early, and Lester started to pour it on a little bit later in the middle of the rounds and stuff like that. And Billy was just like Bradman said, he got that imposing style. So I would have liked to see Lester turn him a little bit. I would have liked not to see Lester go on the ropes. I would have liked to see Lester push him back a little bit more. You know what I mean? But Lester fights. He's a counter puncher at the same time as he's a hard puncher, but he's a counter puncher. And so I would have liked to see him separate, but I think he's going to be a lot more receptive. I don't think Billy can be better, but I think Lester can be a lot better. And so I'm looking forward to a stoppage next time.
Mm, a stoppage next time. What do you feel like Lester could have did better?
Everything I just said, you wasn't listening. He could have stepped around a little bit more. He could
Yeah.
have used his jab a little bit more. And Lester has a style to where like he can bob his head, he can shoot over here, he can
Mm,
shoot the right hand here. He got a different level of style. He can do different agility shit with his waist, and when he get in a real good rhythm, you know,
yeah.
he can do different shit. And Billy just the same key punch, just the same shit, just here. But Lester, he can do different things in there. He can, like I'm saying, he can dip, boom. He can slide, come over here with this one. He can do this. He can give an angle on this. He can do shit like that. But sometimes he get a little lazy. You know what I mean? And so I want him to uh add that to his game. Use his jab a little bit more, and have like a like how he did slip counter. Throw his jab when he get boom boom. Just add more wrinkles to his game, which he can. I've seen it in him. So but it was a big step up for Lester too, in every which way. You know what I mean? He never worked as hard in training camp before. He was under Chet, doing all the same things that Bud was doing to get in condition, and it was a big step up for him. And I thought he did well. I thought we could have got the decision, but they had a lot of high. They really high on in Billy, and so it was gonna be hard for us to get the decision had we knocked him out or didn't separate ourselves.
Well, Bernie, man, I really appreciate your time, man. I'm gonna have the strength and conditioning coach, Coach Chet, jumping on right now with us. But yes, great intel. And once again, guys, make sure you guys go out your way and follow Bernie the Boxer on YouTube, his own personal YouTube channel. Definitely a great segment. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, Meal. Later.
You already know, man. Smash that like button, y'all. Okay, now we're gonna be sending this link to Chet. We're gonna stay cooking for just a little bit more. I got some extras for y'all. Salute to everybody that's on the chat. Really appreciate you guys for tapping in. Um, this has definitely been a great segment so far. So make sure you guys go out your way and hit that like button. We're gonna be having the strength and conditioning coach of Terrence Crawford, Coach Chet, in the building in just a few seconds. Bear with me, y'all. Salute to everybody in the chat. We're gonna be having also the call-ins just in a few. Salute to Combat Sports in the building. Bang Bang Boogie in the building. D Smith, G Double. What's going on? Smash the like button. We've been having lots of people on the live, and you guys gotta reciprocate by just hitting that like button for me, man. Really appreciate you, man. It's free. I promise you. I promise you. We got Coach Chet coming in right now. Salute to everybody in the live. Smash that like button, and we here. We on the live with Coach Chet in the building. What's going on, Coach? How are you doing? Nice to meet you,
Nice to meet you too. I'm good, man. I'm real good.
man.
What's going on?
Man, congratulations. I screen recorded one of your video lives prior to the fight, talking about
Mhm.
how excited you were to be able to take down Canelo Alvarez, and for it to all come into fruition, it's nice to get you on the live personally. So once again, congratulations, and let's start about where this all started for you as far as coaching is concerned.
I owned a gym for 10 years. So Omaha, Nebraska is home to me too. That's, obviously Bud and the rest of the team is home. And I invited him out to the gym. That's what it took. I think he had just fought Gamboa. I sat ringside. Uh, I had, Red Spikes was an acquaintance. Like we knew of each other. But I reached out to him on Facebook after the fight. Was like, it was like probably a couple months after the fight, and I was like, "Hey, congratulations. Like, what does it take to get Bud in my gym?" And I wasn't thinking about training, boxers or training Bud. It was really just get him to my gym so I could promote my gym. And he told me reach out to him on Facebook, and I thought that was a joke. I was just like, okay, you got an athlete or somebody that you look up to, as far as what they're doing in their respective industry, and you just reach out to them. Be like, hey, Javante, like I want to do something with Javante. Just reach out to him on Facebook, to somebody random. So I wasn't thinking that I hear back. And it was probably about a week or two later, he reached back out. He said, "Yeah, I'll come try it out." And I was like, great. He popped in the gym, came solo, didn't come with the entourage or, anybody. And I put him through work. And at that time, I trained about 10 hours a day. I had about 3 group classes, personal training sessions in between, and I worked out with everybody. I worked out with every personal training session, every group class. I wanted to push them. It didn't matter who stepped in my door. I wanted to be their bunny. And so the first time he came out to the gym, that was kind of my mindset is like, hey, I'm the bunny. Like I want you to chase me, and I wanted to see where I was at too, just because you got, I had some NFL guys come to my gym and stuff like that, but I just wanted to see where I was at condition wise. So, I pushed him. We had a hell of a session, and he said, "Hey, I want to come back on Friday," and I was like, good deal. Yeah, of course you can come back. Another hell session that we pushed each other, and right after that session I think we played. I had a little basketball court in the back, and some space in the back of the gym, and we played basketball. He was just like, "Man, what's it take to bring you to camp? I need you at camp." And it was for the I think Dieri Jean fight was the first fight. And from then, it was history. I've been with the team. There's been some camps I haven't done, or stayed back for whatever reason, but every major fight, every undisputed fight, I made sure to be available, and I've been with the team with Bud ever since.
Tell me, what were the challenges as far as putting on the weight from Bud, campaigning as low as 135 to for this fight per se that just passed this weekend.
Like I joined Bud when he was at 140. So, I wasn't he was a 135 champion. You know, my start with him was at 140. 140, it was, just like a lot of other fighters have challenges. You're making weight up until fight week. You're pushing and taking off pounds up until fight week. When we went to 147, like it got a little easier in the beginning, but as your body ages, you get older, you put on size, like you're cutting muscle. And, like it's not about weight bullying. I think when it comes to fighting, for a lot of champions and a lot of people who aren't champs, you fight at what weight you can make. You know what I mean? So he was still able to make 147, campaign there for a while, went undisputed. And then, once, we took Ndongo's belts, just got to a point where, 147 is where, I'm sorry, yeah, 147 at that time is where he wanted to go. And so we went from 140 to 147. It still was, difficult cuts. Like it's just you're still working all camp. Then when we went to Madrimov at 154, it got a little bit easier. It still was work to get there. At 168, like what it comes down to is you still want to be powerful, quick. You still want to have strength. You want to feel like a 168 fighter. So that was the focus. Like I heard the narrative, with Canelo being the bigger guy, the stronger guy, all this and that. I've seen Bud, spar, and I'm sure you talk to other people on our team. Bud sparred bigger guys his entire career. He hasn't been afraid of anybody's smoke. So I mean, we've seen him in there. We knew that, could he take Canelo's power? Yeah, There's been, like we've had sparring sessions with Andre Ward. Like there's he can handle whatever he was gonna. The thing about it was really delivering that type of power and speed that we needed to beat Canelo. So, the 168 cut for, in my opinion, was a much easier cut. Like, he was happy the entire camp. There's not a lot of weight to cut. It was really just making sure, he had the type of power, size, and explosiveness that he needed, at that weight. Like we knew Bud could handle 168, coming from Canelo. We I wanted to beat that narrative. That was kind of my focus coming in as a strength coaches. And there's other videos, that I've posted along the way saying, when we step on stage, Bud's not gonna look what bigger guy. Like he's already taller, longer reach. Yes, Canelo's been at that weight for a longer period of time, but I think, I had the confidence, Bud had the confidence that, like he's not a bigger guy. He's not a bigger guy naturally. Now, although we haven't had the experience at that weight, he's still going to look like the stronger, bigger, faster guy in the ring. And I think we accomplished that.
Absolutely. And like you were saying that you knew that Bud was already kind of more of you was talking about the weight cut for 68. Like when we talk about walk around weight and when we talk about fight weight, a lot of people kind of misconstrued like what that really is, right? And you were talking about these cuts from 40 all the way up to 68. What kind of a cut really did he have for that? Because I know in the Netflix trailer and some of the things he was eating like hamburgers, but I know that that was like before camp, right? Am I right or am I wrong?
Or obviously that's, kind of I got a bodybuilding pass, so I broke my spinal cord 4.5 years ago.
Wow.
But before that, and I'm up walking, I'm blessed. I shouldn't be, but I'm here, I'm training Bud. But at the same time, like that's the misconception owning a gym too. So it's not just athletes that a lot of people have is they diet hard, when obviously if you're training hard, you need that fuel in your body. What happens if you're not eating enough, which a lot of people do, a lot of people don't have strength coaches, your body goes into a like fight or flight starvation mode. It wants to hold on to everything. So like really, like people need to eat the right things, enough protein, enough carbs, cutting back on fat, and what's good for their body, and analyzing it week to week to see what type of progress they have. But for this fight specifically with Bud, having those nutritionists in line, all he has to do is get in there and work. They put together the programs. They understand, you know, how you fuel exercises. The more work that you have, the more calories that you need to intake. So you don't get in that start. So like he just, he got out the way. He trusted everybody on his team, and like he ate plenty of food. It wasn't a cut where he was walking around feeling like he was hungry. Like it was an enjoyable process. I think like at 168, this is one of the smoothest camps that we've had to date.
They say at this age, 37 now, his birthday is the same day as my birthday, September 28th, coming up next week. You're gonna be 38. They say sometimes you got to train smarter, not necessarily how you started like in the beginning. I remember talking to Bomac, and he said, "Yeah, we got to take it to some of the old school stuff that we did back in the days." Tell me, what do you see in Bud Crawford now, about to be 38, and when you first started training with him?
But it's different, man. So I like, like I know we've said that, along the way, like, but it's far from the only fighter that I've worked with or the rest of the team. We got 16 profile, and growing. You know what I mean? So I think, when initially when I joined the team, it was, like just but it was the focus. We might have had a couple other fighters that were really local guys. Now, our team has trained several world champions. I don't think his mindset is, like I can't say with Bud. anything's been different. You know what I mean? Like he really, he's just built that way where he zones in. It's the opponent in front of him that's the important opponent, and how he goes about camp. You know, I can't say at 140 it's changed from 168. Like I said, it was just other factors, the way that I kind of programmed some of the strength and conditioning, some of the workouts we did, some of the resistance training we did, and then obviously food changes, but how he goes about that process from one that hasn't changed. It's been the same work. Like we go about it the same way, and like Bud is just built to zone in. He can motivate himself. You know what I mean? Like I think I'm pretty good at motivating athletes or individuals, but when you got somebody like Bud that I think from the time he started boxing, like he in his mind had it, he was going to be a name that they talked about forever. And a lot of fighters, they get into it because it's something, I can fight for money. It's something they enjoy doing, and think they can be good at, but their work ethic or their dedication or commitment, like he's at that, he's on the Mount Rushmore for a reason, or he will be, just because, like I said, he's competitive. His competitive spirit and the way he goes about, his work ethic is just built different than any other fighter and any other athlete professionally that I've worked with.
When you become a big boxing fan, you tend to want to see your favorite fighter. You tend to like push retirement for them. When
Mhm.
you look at Bud right now, as competitive as he is, right? Do you see retirement? I seen an interview, a quick little snip with Bomac, and he said, "Nah, there's no way. There's no way we see retirement at this moment in time."
The one person you need to ask that question is Terrence Bud Crawford.
Right.
That's it. He can do whatever he wants. Like I don't know. Everybody's gonna have their opinion on what he should, what he can't, what he went out there and looked like he's still pound for pound number one. And he's that guy. Like Canelo was obviously the cash cow. He's been pound for pound before many times, and he went out there and made him look average. So to me, does he need to retire? Because he's 37. To me, that doesn't mean George Foreman was a champion at 50 years old. He's got a few years in his prime still. He looked like a prime. That was just as good of a Bud that I've seen in any of the fights that we've had. In previous years. So, but it comes down to like what he wants to do. Obviously, yeah, we'll talk. Bo will get back. Saul, they're out with Chris Eubanks right now. We'll get back as a team and have some discussions along the way. But ultimately it's going to be what he decide. If he wants to fight, he can definitely still fight at a high level. Like I think all of us would love to see a big fight at Memorial Stadium with 90,000 something fans, but it's going to be his decision. What he feels like doing training camp is a lot of work. I don't think many people see clips like Netflix was out. There's been HBO specials and but it doesn't really give an emphasis on what 12 weeks, 8 weeks, of 2, 3 days or 2, 3 training sessions a day, 6 to 8 hours at that level. Like there's a lot of people that train, like I said, I owned a gym, work with a lot of different people. Their intensities aren't the same. So to train with that type of intensity, for that many hours each and every day, 6 days a week, one day active rest, which is, the Manitou incline, which I know people that have came out to camp that are friends of mine that attempted the incline and couldn't finish, and that's our off day. So at that age that I'm 42. I'm thinking even before. Obviously, I've always had a passion for the gym. But even before my spinal cord injury, like it gets tougher and tougher. That's every athlete. It's not just boxing. It's you look at LeBron James. Those special individuals that are willing to put in that for work for that long of a period of time, and like hold themselves to that type of standard. The intensity that they do, like it's that's a day-to-day thing. Like he could think that he wants to do that now, and then a couple weeks from now he could decide, man, I don't have anything to prove, and I don't know that I'm willing to. I don't think he's scared of the work. I don't think even after boxing, Bud's going to stay out of just like a Floyd Mayweather. He's going to stay in the gym just because it's a passion. It's something he's always done and enjoys. But like to prepare yourself for battle, at the level, there's not going to be small fights for Bud. It's going to be a somebody or a who's next, or who's supposed to be somebody. And so that's something that, might, I mean, it's going to be ultimately what he decides to do. And I know he can do whatever he wants to do. If he wants to retire, there's nothing to be said about his career. He's going to be in the discussion of the greats, no matter what. But, if he wants to fight another fight, for the money, or, just for the passion, I feel like his legacy is built. So, like, to me, like, just like anybody else, if the money makes sense, and it's really good money, it might, be hard to turn down. But ultimately, like, does he need it? I mean, not necessarily. Not necessarily at all. So I'm gonna just sit back, enjoy these next couple weeks. We got the parade next week, and, some celebrations, and, we'll figure it out along the way.
Tell me what kind of impact do you feel like this would bring to your coaching career after being part of this historical moment?
I mean, I think, like, it's already opened up some opportunities. That, I've got some local individuals that I've dealt with that, are very, notable individuals that, can change a lot, of things for what I go about, like, with boxing. I think proof is in the pudding. The resume. I don't have anything to prove as a coach. Like, coming up, really three weight divisions, because he only had one at 154, and, looking the way he did, before he even hopped in the ring, but when they stepped on the scale at the weigh-ins, obviously that's aesthetic. So they see, oh, like, God, he put on size and it looks good. He does look bigger. And then, he popped in the ring and just looked like fresh. He looked like he could go another 12 rounds. So, like, as far as strength and conditioning, I feel like I've done what I needed to do. Like, what boxer am I going to work with at a higher level for a bigger fight? Legion Stadium, that place was packed, sold out, and it was showcased in front of the world. So I feel like, I could really deal with just about any fighter that I want to deal. I just don't. I also don't feel like that's, like, that's not my ultimate goal or legacy. Like, I feel like boxing is one element of what I do. Like, like I did, like I said, I bodybuilt for a long time. I work with, like, I just got done working with Xavier Watts before he, got drafted by the Falcons, and he's shining. And
Okay.
I'm not taking credit for, like, what he's doing on the field. Like, somebody, a friend of mine, I've been a friend of their family for a long time, but individuals like that, will come to me for a reason, like, and they should, because, like, I don't feel like I've got to prove something to anybody about, like how good I am at what I do. Like, I know I think one of the first camps that I did, that Dierjan camp, I think me and Bomac were sitting at a cigar lounge, just prior to fight week. We're getting ready to leave for fight week. And, one of those last days in Colorado Springs with Red. And Bo, he had asked me, he was just like, what's it like to join? Because that was my first experience with, a boxing team, especially at that level. He was like, what's it like to join the top boxing team in the world? This is back in 2014 through 2015. And, like, I sat there for a second and thought about the question, and then looked at Bo and said, like, I'm supposed to be here. I'm one of the greatest strength coaches in the world. And I believe that then, and, like, by all means, I believe it now. So, like, whether I work with a ton of other fighters, or I do some other things, like, some of the things that I'm putting in motion now, it could be countrywide, and I feel like I'm supposed to be there as well. Like, I feel like I've studied my craft. I've been serious about my craft, and now, it's showcased for the world. So I've already had some fighters reach out to me, since the fight, and I know it'll bring on more. You know what I mean? And but ultimately, like, I gotta kind of take each step in stride, see what smart moves are, and, like, obviously, if Bud did another fight, Bud is, like, at this point, they're all, we spent a lot of time together over the last decade. We lived together during camps, in a camp house, which is different from a lot of other, fight camps. And I really feel like, like Bud, I'd finish out my career, like, with him, or his career. Finish out the career with him. But, like, with other fighters, it's just got to be smart for the right reasons. And, we'll see. But I'm sure, because of the fight, I'm in a lot of people's head. Even walking around the hotel after the fight, some legends that I ran into, shaking hands, and they knew who I was or knew what I did for Bud, and getting praise from those guys, that like at one point I looked up to, just being a boxing fan. That meant more to me than like how many are reaching out right at, like I know my work was shown and showcased, and anybody that wants that type of conditioning is going to seek it out and find out for themselves. You know what I mean? Like they saw, like, oh, if you're a boxer, and you're interested in improving your craft, like, you'll look at that fight and say, who helped them along the way, and they'll figure it out.
What other boxers do you work with?
So I mean, on our team, I work like we work with Steven Nelson, Lester Martinez. Like I've worked with, I did some work with Amir Khan before they left for London. I did. Yeah, we've had Jamel Herring. We've had. I mean, every fighter that's been within the BNB camp. I've been associated with. Keyshawn Davis did a couple camps with him. You know, the list is long. You know what I mean? Like anybody that B&B's work with, I've worked with, at some point on some scale, or been, their main coach for the entire camp. Like, yeah, DB3, all those fighters, like Keyshawn, Keon, and Kelvin, and many more. Like, like, there's a lot of fighters that come through camp and spend significant time with us. Like Nicole, I said Nico Ali Walsh.
Ali?
Like, yeah, he spent a lot of time, this last camp, and I know he's going into camp now, his full camp mode, but he's been with us for a month too. Jamar Talley just fought. So I mean, just yeah, there's a
I'm
lot of
sure
fighters
Shakur
that
Stevenson probably as well.
Shak- yeah, Shakur's been around. Yeah, he was around this last camp too. So I mean, the list is long. Like there's a lot of like guys like Shakur that it'd be just a conversation to try to be a part of their camp if that was kind of what I was going after. But like I said, right now it's more about just making the intentional moves that make sense. Because boxing is just one industry. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of other industries that might make more sense at that time. Like I said, right now I think the only boxer that I pick up and go and say, "Let's go." Like Ben Whitaker, he was out for a few camps. I'm real close to Ben, his dad, and we've talked about possibly popping out to Ireland. I think that's where he's training next with Andy Lee. So, like the availability is there. I think the one is there for a lot of people, but now, like I said, I got to make intentional moves. That's it doesn't get much higher than it just got. So like it's the same thing for me. Like, what else do I have to prove in boxing? Like I know what I can do with the boxer, and like it's up for them to seek me out, and then we can talk about it, have a conversation. Like see if it's a smart move for me at that time.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Was like, after this, what other goal do you have that you need to feel like you need to reach before decide to say, all right, I'm going to stop coaching?
I don't. I've always been like the gym and working with like just helping people get better has always been a passion of mine, and I know it's my purpose. Like I'm really good at it, and you know. I don't think I'll ever quit, like coaching. I don't know, about, training. Like, I don't know. I really don't know what the future, I've got some things in motion now, and, they sound very rewarding, financially with shorter time spans. But, like for certain individuals, like if it's right and, like everything seems like it feels like the right fit, then I'm still open to it. Like, I know, like even with Shakur about to potentially get a Teofimo, like that might be something I'm interested in just because he's been around our camp. I know him, and like it might be something that I'd want to pursue, but we'll have that conversation and cross that road as it comes. If there's mutual interest, that's what I tell any fighter. Like, reach out and I can look at, the logistics and if it makes sense, and like if I'd be open to it, and if it makes sense, that I'm not going to close the door anytime soon. Like I'm not saying I'm done, coaching fighters at all. Like I said, I'd ride out Terrence's career and every other fighter. Like we just have to see, what the timing and everything looks like, and if there's mutual interest, then we go from there.
When you look at work ethic, when you look at Crawford, do you feel like that's kind of like unmatched when it comes down to work
I mean,
ethic and
that'd be the hardest part about working with any other fighter is I've been, kind of spoiled. Like Bud was my first major, like pro fighter, and like it's not a question of if it's unmatched. Like I know it is. Like he doesn't complain. Yeah, I'm not going to say there's not minor. He might complain about something, but he's going to do it. He's not scared of any smoke. When it comes to training, you put something in front of him, he's going to do it. And like you don't have to beg him to get up. He's up on time. Sometimes he's up before everybody else. He might call one of the coaches 6 o'clock in the morning. Because he told everybody 8, but he's up. He's been up since 5, and he wants to run 3.5, 4 miles up and down the mountain. So, he might wake one coach up and say, let's go. And then, everybody else is waking up, all of our other fighters, because we've got other fighters at the camp with us. We wake up, what time is the run? And, Bud's already back home, sweat, he's got his sweat on already. Like, it's just one of those things that, because I have been around other fighters that I can't
Right.
say, are as excited or want to do all the work or don't complain, or, might not, some
Not
are more
love it as
difficult.
much. Let's
Yeah,
be
exactly.
honest.
Yeah. I mean, at the
I
end of
was
the day,
listening to Bud. He said, I got 50 houses. I don't really need to fight, but I do it
yeah,
because I love it.
yeah. So I mean, that's ultimately a lot of people that have I'm going to say fighters, a lot of fighters that have the luxury of being around Bud, and some like that have a name behind them, and like have the talent. Like you can't live. You see it and you're around it, but that's not you, and you don't like it took 17 years to get there, you know what I mean, and he's been that hungry for that long, you know what I mean. So I think a lot of younger fighters, when they're around it, and it just looks easier than it is, that dedication, that commitment, like he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, and he has he's done that his entire career, so it can't be a, when I'm not getting ready prepared for a fight, still having that dedication, to keep your body, you know in a state of peace. Like, man, this kid, he takes care of himself at all time, all year round, no matter what's going on. You got a fight or not. He might not be training, with the same intensity, but he's in the gym. He's not putting toxins or anything like that in his body. He's taking care of it. It's his temple. It's what makes him a lot of money. And a lot of fighters aren't that dedicated. So you want to be a champion, you want to be considered, like you want to get to that level of greatness, being considered one of the best to ever do it. You got the blueprint in front of you. It's not about having the blueprint in front of you, though. It's about working it at all times. And most aren't going to have that dedication or commitment.
100%. Only the greats do it. You got like the Michael Jordans, the Kobe's, the Mayweathers, and now you got, you know, Terrence Crawford, and you're the strength and conditioning coach to let us know exactly where that work ethic is, and for anybody that wants to have you in their camp, let everybody know what your social media is, and obviously for some other people that wanna be able to just be around that in your area as well in Omaha. Your gym is in Omaha.
No, I sold my gym in 2018. So like now,
Okay,
like I got other business ventures that I'm involved in, and
good for you.
strength coaching. I'm always in the gym. Like I got gym memberships everywhere in
Everywhere.
Omaha. But yeah, if they want to reach out to me, it's my website's Chet at Coach. I'm not, my email is Chet at CoachChet.com. CHET. My website is CoachChet.com. I do public speaking. So ChetSpeaks.com is my public speaking. You can contact me through those websites as well. My Instagram is what I use most. I've got other handles and other social platforms, but Instagram is what I use. And it's Strength Condition Coach. So, that's probably the easiest way to reach me, is just shoot me a message at Strength Condition Coach on Instagram. And I mean, if they want to get in touch with me. Omaha, I've been here, the majority of my life. So there's a lot of people that are local that, know how to reach me. But by all means, like I said, for any fighter, or any athlete that might be out there that tunes into your broadcast, I mean, if you want to seek me, Google, you can Google my name too, Chet Fortune or Coach Chet. I'll pop up, and there's a way to reach me.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate your time, and man, to the next time when we hear that new news.
That's right. I'm with it.
Appreciate you, brother, and
uh,
congratulations as well.
no, I
Stay
appreciate
blessed.
you guys. Yeah, you
You
too.
got it.
Later.
Smash the like button, ladies. Gentlemen, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel. Almost a 3-hour stream for y'all. I think it is a 3-hour stream. Ladies and gentlemen, smash that like button. If you want to watch this whole segment, make sure you become a member of Mill City Boxing. I'll be back. We'll be talking to some more fighters and Buddy McGirt later on today. Once again, appreciate you guys for tapping in. Become a member of Mill City Boxing so you can watch all my lives whenever you feel like it. Appreciate you, and God bless.